It's Sunday. It's time for High Rollers D&D, and it's me, your Dungeon Master, Mark Sherlock Humes. Thank you all so much for joining us on this lovely Sunday. We're ready to play some games with our friends. Who are those friends? They're these people. We've got Chris Trott, we've got Kim, and on the other side of the table, we've got Tom and Ree.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Right,
Hello.
enough of that.
Hello, everybody.
We sadly don't have Katie. Katie's super busy today and is not able to join us, but we're going to have a lovely episode.
Are we?
We are going to have a lovely episode, and it's going to start off lovely because I'm going to tell you all about the Wandering Tavern.
Yeah.
That's right, it's the project by Homie and the Dude. This father and son team have previously done TTRPG products as well. The Wandering Tavern is a big TTRPG Kickstarter project featuring a Studio Ghibli-inspired and system-agnostic floating setting. Ooh. The Wandering Tavern is packed full of stuff, a full setting history, 15 giant battle maps, 33 NPCs, 15 of which have 5e stats included, 30 plot hooks, 6 Xantheus, aka airships, 51 Zephyr parts and stations, 18 magic items, 7 illegal trades, 13 setting-inspired recipes, 3 downtime games, 4 celebrations, as well as unique spirit mechanics, and a quick start guide. The whole thing is 100% created, no AI is involved in the project. There is so much stuff packed into it, and because it's usable in any setting or system, it's a great way to drop in fresh content to your games and add a super cool location bursting with mysteries, threats, plots, and opportunities for your players. The Kickstarter also has bundles with extras from collaborators, and Homie and the Dude have been working on their own builder application, which will help you put together vehicle stat blocks like those used for the Zephyrs. It's super cool. Check out the link in chat and the video description to go take a look at the Wandering Tavern Kickstarter. And if you support it, that will also support us, and you get a cool thing as well.
Pro as hell.
Very pro. I'm a professional guy.
That was good. Well done.
Pro guy.
Speaking of professional, there are lots of ways that you can go and support High Rollers right now. We've got a ton of cool projects out. We're going to show off some of our geeky clean bath bombs and dice sets. Show those bad boys off. That's right. We've partnered up with Geeky Clean, who is a great. They are a great business here in the UK, where they produce D&D themed bath accessories, including the new Altheya bath bomb collection.
Just whack that in your face.
He whacked his mouth.
Oh my God.
Each of these bath bombs is themed around an Altheya character. You get a dice set inside.
Yeah.
They've got wonderful smells.
That never looks good, Kim.
Never.
No, it winds you guys up. So that's why I do it.
There's one for each character, and then also one for the Dragon Empress as well.
Yeah.
From Altheya as well. Go check it out. Link in the video description and in chat as well. Please go check out Geeky Clean. We love them. They're a super lovely team.
Get clean.
Get clean. Get Geeky Clean.
There's a code.
Just makes sense.
Exfoliated.
They make sense.
They make sense. Very
Just makes
good.
sense.
There is a code. Use code exfoliated to get 10% off, and go and support those as well.
Exfoliated, not exfoliated.
Not just that, but also DM Stash, My Mini Factory, and Only Game.
That's the one.
I had to remember. I've got
Trifecta
notes.
of collabs.
The trifecta of collabs. You can go get our miniatures, Altheya Hero miniatures. You can get them in 32mm scale or 250% increased size. 75mm scale. These are gorgeous minis. They're perfect to paint. They're also just lovely little collectibles.
Little kitties.
They're a really cute little merch item if you want to support Altheya. And also, you should go and check out DM Stash for their incredible collections of miniatures that you can print or get sent to you. They do tons of awesome like D&D theme packs. They've got like
May's coming up. It's going to be D&D themed.
Bam.
I've
Restaurants
given
will
the
want it.
intel.
Oh.
Yeah, and they do loads and loads of STLs. If you're a 3D print enthusiast and print like I do, you get so much every month. There's a big drop, and it's like a big lucky bag. Every month of cool things. So please go support them.
So much cool stuff. Yeah.
A lot.
And I think DM Stash are part with My Mini Factory as well. So you
go
can
on
buy
My Mini Factory, join their tribe, and then you'll get the monthly drops of their cool stuff.
Yeah. So go and check that out. Really lovely work. Love working with those folks. And then finally, don't forget, it draws closer and closer as we approach September. Do you remember? It's the 17th of September, London, Adelphi Theatre, High Rollers live, baby! We are, I believe at this point, we are very close. Like, we are at like 50% of like all of the general seats are sold. So you want to, if you want to get good seats, you try and get them ASAP.
Yep.
Bring your friends along.
Yep.
We would love to sell the venue out before September. Like, that for us would be a huge achievement. And if we do that, if we manage to sell out the venue, that means that we can look at doing more stuff in the future as well. We can do more live shows. We can look at maybe taking our shows to elsewhere in the UK, in Europe, in America. Who knows?
The moon.
The moon.
Can you imagine?
D&D show on the moon.
Wow.
That'd be
Can
us.
you
The
imagine?
moon's old. It's all about Mars now.
Oh, okay.
Mars, baby.
I'm actually terrified of going to space, so I might not be there for that one.
You can remote in.
I'll remote in
Mariana
for that one.
Trench.
Yeah.
Mariana-
Mariana Trench. I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where all the mechs and the kaiju are.
Yeah,
so I'll go
yeah.
down there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Guest spot.
Yeah, but yes, London, Adelphi Theatre, link in the video description and in chat to get your tickets to High Roller Live.
Yeah.
If you've already got your tickets, convince a friend to buy a ticket. Buy tickets for your mum and dad. I don't care. I don't care who comes. Bring your grandma. We just want to sell them tickets.
Bring your grandma.
Yeah, please bring your grandma. It'd be
I
amazing.
love that.
Cool.
More grandmas.
Generational D&D.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it. And that is it for my announcements, which means it's time to run that intro as we crack on with
We could
today's.
delay it a little bit, right?
No.
Get into it.
Take it away, Sam.
Just don't play the video. Just don't play it. No.
Welcome back to Altheya, the Dragon Empire. Whilst returning to the enticing Devil Inn, our heroes were ambushed on the streets of Ashen Rest by demonic creatures that appeared out of the Lamplighters Guild Everlights. During the battle, Sister Ophelia de la Rosa of the House of Blood was tragically slain by a sudden and unexpected lethal blow. As her new allies mourn her passing and attempt to revive her, Ophelia appears in the planar realm called the Greylands, a plane of undeath ruled over by a figure Ophelia knows as the Grave Father, the god of her homeland of Osseous. The Grave Father announces his disappointment for Ophelia, but offers her a chance to return to the living world. She will need to cross the Greylands and survive the harsh conditions there, face enemies and dangers, and prove she has learned valuable lessons to her deity. During these travels, Ophelia discovers a red crystal crown made of sanguinite, a unique jewel from Osseous. When she touches it, she sees images of a vampiric queen who fed on fear and terror instead of blood, and found herself awakening to strange new powers. During the battle where Ophelia fell, the gold dragonborn Xantheus Oregon channeled incredible magical power at great risk to himself, and in doing so, revealed his hand had undergone a strange transformation. And when receiving magical aid from the knight-to-be Gruffith of Tremoro and Daisy Thistleheart, it was clear that something was different about the young man. With interest from the ecliptic order of the Church of the Scions, the remaining heroes sat Xantheus down and asked him to reveal all. And just before we torment Tom further,
Oh, please.
I do need a D6 roll from everybody to determine our Crucible of Fate.
Crucible!
Only 5 dice in it this week because we don't have a cake.
Your dice is going to dictate how it goes.
My dice.
Yours specifically.
Okay. A 1.
Well, that would be a dice for me.
I rolled a 1.
That's a dice for me. Thank you, Kim.
That's how
Two.
Gruffith's
A
handle
dice for me. Jolly cooperation.
5.
Hey!
Okay.
Dice for
Can you imagine?
It wasn't a total lockout on Mark's.
Well, and I rolled a 4, so that is also a dice for you.
Wow.
So it's a 3 to 2.
3 to
this
2
week. So
to you. Well, not
fate
to you.
Fate is slightly turned against you, but as always, fate is a fickle thing and changes.
Yeah.
We find the majority of the heroes sat inside the enticing devil inn. It is late. Late is the hour. Darkness outside, no everlights near the enticing devil mean that only a flickering candle, perhaps Daisy's glowing dagger, illuminates this space as you are sat around one of the sort of broken and ruined tables with Xantheus sat down before you. And that is where I hand it over to Tom Hazel.
Is Ophelia just on a table behind us?
No.
She's been taken.
Oh, as in like the body? Yes, the body would be. Yeah, the body is in the enticing devil. Sorry.
I think Ophelia would start stinking.
It's been like
It's only like an hour.
like 2 hours,
Yeah,
if that.
if that.
Just trying to get a vibe.
She must be kind of stiff.
Well, I think it's because Gruff was
You
cleaning
cleaned the body and
you know,
stuff,
so he
yeah.
probably would have wrapped
So did
her,
Percy.
you know, like in a
You had a
not
blanket
shroud,
from
but, like,
a family.
Yeah, Daisy
he
got
would
off
have
the
done the bust
blanket.
to clean up and like because I guess being from a little village, he probably has helped lay out the dead before, so he would have done it the best that he knows how.
Cubum.
Yeah, cube him, put him on ice, chuck him in the sea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine he
Delicious.
would have like wrapped her up in a shroud and like.
Yeah, and when we say clean, like literally cleaning off the blood.
Yeah,
really,
cleaning
there's
off
not
the
much
blood,
else that
like, yeah.
needs to be cleaned. Like
brushing
Ophelia
out
was
the-
a very
brushing out
The
hair.
veins like internal.
that's all internal damage. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing like
Bit of
there
makeup.
is
Yeah.
there is honestly
wouldn't
more.
have touched
There
her.
is a sweet perfume smell to Ophelia. She was very clean, like took good care of her appearance. I imagine Ophelia would have carried like perfumes and incenses and things like that. Percival is stood next to the body, unmoving,
Staring.
just staring.
I think Gruff would have lit some candles as well before he tried to hurry these guys out
Sure.
to get decursed.
I'm trying to remember as well. I know Katie's not here, but I think Daisy also went to go upstairs and then turned around when I think Xantheus was like sat down. So I'm just kind of imagining her like dangling her legs from like the balcony at the top.
Yeah, well, I think she went up to talk to Tyrea and just let her know what was like happening and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But at this point, let's just say that like everyone is kind of sat around in very close proximity or near enough to,
Yeah.
able to hear. And yeah, I think the Xantheus, you had begun speaking, and that was where we had. To
I think
end
we
it.
could describe the scene a little bit more. What sort of time is it?
You know, I've already said that.
Rowan
Did
would
you?
have added on to what you already said.
Which was
Sit down.
yeah, okay,
Pretty sure.
yeah, something like that.
Now, I do this out of the utmost respect and worry of your well-being. I'm worried. I didn't know this was a thing, and there's been
And?
some other things going on. And I look back at Ophelia. We're friends. I don't want anything bad. Is something bad happening?
Something terrible is happening, Rowan. Ophelia was the only person who knew about my hand.
Well,
You knew already?
I've been watching.
Not so subtle after all, I guess. At least I'm glad.
I just found out.
At least, hopefully, only the right people knew.
What?
Not someone outside of this immediate group, I mean. I worry about what would happen if people found out. And I've run through this scenario a million times. When we first met, how I would gain your trust and I would learn to trust you and I would tell you what's happening to me. But hopefully you'll understand. That's all I can ask for. And if you don't, I can leave. I can walk out the door and you will never see me again. If I'm too risky, if I'm too dangerous, if you can't be around me anymore, I can leave.
Dangerous.
Yes.
But you've helped us. You've fought creatures against.
With,
You're helping people.
with a power that I have gained from something I don't think anyone fully understands yet. Okay. In order to get a full understanding, I think there needs to be a little bit of context. And I ask you not to smirk at this, but the context begins 400 years ago.
What?
To understand my position as a gold dragonborn, the status that I may not hold, the way that gold dragons are treated in Altheya today, I think every dragon can trace their lineage back thousands of years, but for the gold dragons, I think their history truly begins with the Oriat insurrection. Now, what do you know about this?
Anybody who would like to can make a history check.
Thank you.
Yeah. Obviously, poor Ophelia is not there, but you would probably not know this anyway.
No, exactly. 16.
16.
13.
13. Both of you know enough. You know the common law. It is taught throughout the Empire. The Oriat insurrection is the name given to the event where the gold archdragon, Galdvasar, attempted a coup on the Empire.
I'm sure you all have the same knowledge that everyone else has about this conquest. On one side, Galvasar, on the other side, the Dragon Empress. Galvasar, driven mad in his conquest for power and domination, but that conquest ended not too far from here. Thanks in part to Duke Ignarius for taking out great leaders of that war, but obviously to the Dragon Empress as well. But the gold dragons have never been the same since. Sure, there were a lot of gold dragons that joined and were still loyal to the Dragon Empress, but still their reputation was ruined. And they did everything they could to restore any amount of honor they might hold. And Host Oregon plays a firm part in the Auric banks, in commerce, in trading, in just something to help out Altheya and not be seen as Galvasar. But that hatred still lingers in certain places. You might not have seen it, but I have. A gold dragon in Cauldra, some people just don't like us. And I see the sneers and the glares from certain people, but they'll never amount to anything. It was years and years ago, 400 years ago. No one can act on it. But I do have a small correction, though, Gruff. Every time you've addressed me, you called me Little Lordling or Lord Xantheus, and I've corrected you every time. And in that, it's true. I am no lord. I, as my father would call me, am tarnished gold, impure. I am the result of some affair, I guess I'm some bastard child of Host Oregon. And I was exiled at a very young age to the border of Cauldra and Gildai, to the village of Rust End. And that's where I've stayed until very, very recently. That's where I've been locked down, and I had a life, I had friends, I even had love there. Fleeting, but I was happy. But every opportunity to leave Rust End always seemed to fizzle away for some reason. Maybe I didn't have the money, maybe I didn't have the time, maybe those friends just left without me. And it was sad every single time. But I was left behind. Until one day, I got a message from the same person that confined me to that place. I got a message from my father. And he gave me a mission to go to Kelskaris to recover something. I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was some kind of weapon or something. And all I had to do was go to Kelskaris, recover this weapon, and I'd be welcomed back as a member of Host Oregon. And when you've had a life as simple, as slow, and as frankly boring sometimes as I had, it sounded perfect. So I took the mission and I went to Kelskaris. And I've never been to the capital city. I've never seen a place that big. It was full of life and vibrancy and people from all over the world. And it was so magical and so interesting. And I just wanted to learn more. I wanted to see everything that I'd missed out on. I wanted to learn more about the sun, Pyrrhus, and Melir. And I'll look out the window, and I wanted to learn.
You see, as Xantheus looks out the window, the broken windows of the Enticing Devil, there are no glass in them. The shutters hang open for a moment, and you see the stars, the constellations. Some believe them to be the saints, the divine saints themselves. You see the small shadowed moon of Melir, goddess of secrets, of darkness, of beauty, and hovering in the air, fixed almost, the broken crown, sovereign's prison, a moon of gold and red and black, pieces of it broken away, drifting, hovering. You've all heard stories that sometimes pieces of the crown fall. They land in the Empire, and bad things follow.
I wanted to learn about everything the world had to offer. But I wanted to learn about the crown. The prison moon burning with the lucent peaks and the Hellion throne of radiant and demonic energy, dripping with the very material that almost destroyed the gold dragons and corrupted Galvasar. The powerful, enchanting, and corrupting crown steel. You might not know much about it. It's been outlawed. Research completely halted on it. Anyone that tries to gather it will just simply attempt to destroy it. Rid the world of this dread metal. I will start to remove my cloak and eventually the bandages. And continue speaking and say, anyone that seeks out this crown steel is branded as a heretic. But for a gold dragon, it brands you as a traitor to Altheya, courting the same hideous and misguided aspirations of Galvasar himself. This was my father's mistake, and I'll completely remove the bandages.
You see the sort of form of a fit young man, but that chest, a gaping wound embedded into it. Spiraling pattern, like a great, no mortal weapon could have inflicted it, some great magical injury. And at the very center of it, in the middle of Xantheus's chest, is a jagged shard of gold, red, black metal. Around it, there are runes. And you've seen these runes kind of appear around Xantheus when he protects himself sometimes with magic. And those runes are almost acting like a field or a net and are keeping it almost in place. And you can see that that metal glows with that same fiery light as is now present in Xantheus's hand.
So this is yet another of my father's mistakes that I have to answer for. First, the mistake of being born. Second, the mistake of recovering this ancient evil metal for him. I don't know why he wants it. I don't know for what purpose. All I know is that I was sent to find it, and I found it embedded in my chest and secured by this magic that I don't understand, magic I didn't have before, thanks to this thing. And when you found me on the road, that was just days after I left Kelskaris. Hungry and exhausted and filled with this energy that wasn't my own. But I collapsed, the pain overwhelming. But I can feel it eating away at me already. It's taken my arm already. I don't know what's next. Maybe my mind. Maybe it's altering that too. I don't know. I hope to hold strong for as long as I can. All I know is these runes are protecting me in some small way, but even that's not strong enough to fight against the energy that this is pouring out into my body.
Could I actually have briefly an Arcana check from Gruff and Rowan?
Rowan.
Nice.
8.
10.
10. Yeah, this is all new. There's no more additional information I can give you on that.
Oh, damn it. Makes sense.
Can I scum save?
F5, F8?
Sadly not.
Okay. But I know that I have time enough, hopefully, to be able to make some kind of stand. If my father seeks crown steel and intends to use it for some wicked purpose, then I have been gifted proof of the crimes, proof of his cruelty, proof of the vicious and hideous ways with which he treats his own blood. So I want this shard taken out of my body. I want to survive the process, let's be clear about that. But when it's taken out, I can go back to Gildai. I can try to build some kind of resistance against my father, but it may destroy Host Oregon. But that doesn't matter to me. I was never a lordling. I was never really an Oregon. The family name means nothing to me. But I want to go back and I want to face my father with this evidence, stop whatever he's planning, and end this. Crown steel. That's what's been doing these things to me. The same thing that destroyed Galvassar and may one day destroy me. Do you understand now?
Gruff's gonna get up. Stand for a moment. Looks at Xantheus. Really looks at Xantheus.
What does Gruff see right now? If he were to truly look at Xantheus?
A defeated man, to be honest. Like, if I was holding up any kind of confidence in anything in all of my lies before, this is the truth.
This is vulnerable. This is exposed. This is... Yeah.
I'm thinking of leaving. Like, I'm looking at the door. I'm ready to just walk out and just never come back.
Glancing back towards it.
I'm almost expecting someone to raise a weapon, right?
Yeah, from everything you were told.
So he stares for a moment.
What do I see? In your face.
Probably a sternness. And he walks over. And he gives Xantheus a big hug.
I would be careful if I were you, Gruff. I don't know.
I don't care.
There's a moment where it's probably been some time for Xantheus. You know, you've been down, you've been close to people, but this is the closest anyone's ever gotten. That wasn't an enemy.
Yeah.
And there is that fear. You almost turn your body away, you know, not wanting this now exposed piece of crown steel to even touch Gruffith. But as those big, kind of strong, wild heart arms and touch you, there is a release. There is this kind of sensation of like, this has been a long time since you've had this comfort from somebody, from a person, care. There is this sense of empathy that you've not felt in a long time.
I mean, it's also the first time, other than when I changed like the bandages or anything, that it's probably the longest time I've ever had the entire thing off and just visible. I'd still, I imagine, like that scarred demonic hand, I would still almost cover the thing so it doesn't touch Gruff at all, but...
Just before we continue, Rowan, can you make a perception check for me? Sure, you and Daisy are the only ones, and Daisy's a bit too far to see at this point.
Shit.
Okay, all right.
8.
Kim, please carry on.
Do you... I know you're protecting your chest, but...
It's not touching you. No matter what you do.
But do you accept the hug?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm just like... I don't
resisting.
even, like, hug you back. I'm kind of just there. Yeah.
When we first met, I said you were to be my ward. That hasn't changed. I will share this with you, and I will carry this with you.
But surely you know what it means.
I know exactly what it means.
But why?
Because you need someone.
I really do.
You've done well, Xantheus. You've carried it this far. That takes true strength. We will take this to the end.
But I hid it too. Doesn't that take cowardice?
Sometimes you have to take a step back to get a really good run-up.
You sure?
From the day I met you, I gave you my vow.
And what about you, Rowan?
So, dialing back a little bit in time, before Gruff got up and hugged Xantheus, when he took his bandages off, Rowan would probably just stare at that rock for a prolonged period, not blinking, and just trying to harmoniously connect to figure out what that is. See if what sort of tone, what sort of energy comes from that thing.
To be clear, it is not stone, it is metal, like raw metal. Not worked metal. Well, it would be partially worked, actually. As if it was maybe a piece of something else once. And this is maybe like a fragment or a piece of it. But metal is connected to the earth. In the same way that stone is. It comes from ore. It is a natural thing. As you try and listen, because that's what it is for Rowan, it's listening.
Yeah.
You know the harmony of the stones. You know how earth sounds, how the rock and how the mountain might sound to you. This thing sounds like a scream. Madness, grief, rage, sorrow, hatred, greed, pride. All of these things is the howl of a madman. is what you hear.
I imagine Rowan is kind of taken in by that and doesn't even hear the conversation that's going on with Gruff and Xantheus. And until you hear Xantheus saying to Rowan, what do you think? Kind of like snaps him out of it. And Rowan kind of puts his hands on his big knees and stands up as well, looks at Gruff, and then looks at Xantheus.
Oh, good. I was worried. I was worried you were bad. But you're not bad.
No, not well. No, but it is.
Then what's the problem?
It is bad. I'm not bad, but this is awful. This is terrible.
A burden. You can't share that alone, Xantheus. That's why we're here.
But if somebody discovers it, if somebody sees my hand and makes the link, if somebody examines my chest a little bit too closely, it's happened twice now already that someone has been that close to discovering. You will all be implicated in this. And I can't protect you from that.
But it's not your fault, right? You didn't claim this as a power you wanted and put it in yourself.
No. I mean...
And it is a burden.
Yes, but... Crown Steel is... anyone that finds it destroys it. And that, if someone finds out, that's what will happen to me.
As you say that, Xantheus, there is a moment, because you know that that's not entirely true. The people that you had to claim this from didn't destroy it. They were selling it. They wanted it. Your father wants it. It is the word of the Empress and the Church that Crown Steel is illegal and should be destroyed. But you, of all people, know that that does not mean that there are not those who find it and store it or want it.
Yeah. But, I mean...
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to diminish the severity of the thing that is embedded in your chest. However, I'm not going to turn away now. We've just become best friends.
I suppose so. But I just don't want to endanger you on something I did. Something my father did.
It seems to me, Xantheus, that you've been carrying around the heavy words of your father for a long, long time.
I have. Like I said, I've been answering for his mistakes.
With that, in a cinematic style, I'd like to pull away.
Okay.
As we talk about fathers.
Yeah, nice link. Hell,
Transfer
segue.
over to the Greylands. And Ophelia de la Rosa.
Thank you.
Of the House of Blood. We see Ophelia sort of crouched in these endless grey dust plains. Mountains on one side, ruins on the other. And maybe in this moment the words just happen to ring true, a memory. I'm disappointed in you, child. As you remember the Grey Father's words, the look of disappointment, in a sense of not meeting your potential. But now, the red sanguinite you are holding is gone. But you remember that vision of the vampiric queen. You remember that power that she felt, commanding, inspiring fear, feeding upon that. And you can feel, Ophelia, that something has changed. There is a power in you now that you've never felt before. But the temple is still some distance away, the mountains are still some distance away, and you are alone out in the wilds. Could I have you make a survival check for me, please? As you have been traveling for some time. You don't know, like, days, hours, you don't know.
Got a -1, so that's 11.
An 11. Whilst you have been sort of drawing out the breath of the Gravefather to sustain yourself in this place, and whilst it keeps your body going, it doesn't abate the feelings of thirst, of hunger. And you are at that point now where you have been so hungry and thirsty, but you have nothing to eat or drink. Like, you feel like you're starving, but yet your body is still capable. And you're beginning to feel that real pressure and that ravenousness come over you, and there's just nothing. Like, there's just no food, nothing. There's not even a living being here, that, as far as you can see. And you find that your skin, like being in that wind, the swirling dust storm, your skin has been like rubbed raw. Like, it is, as if you've been sort of blasted by hot sand. The rags that you've basically been rendered into by the Gravefather, your armor, your weapons taken from you. Your hair is filthy and grime covered. Like, you are in probably this terrible state. I do need you to go ahead and take, I will roll for it, from the blasting sands, 7 points of damage. As you are as you make your way, stumbling through the stands after finding the Sanguinite crown, you spend hours trying to find your way back until eventually the dust storm ends. And you realize that you've barely made any progress to the mountains. Like, you've spent that time and you've been going probably around in circles and wandering around, and you've been sort of blown off course, basically. And so you now begin the long, long trudge back in your intended direction. That sensation of hunger and desperation growing. What's kind of going through Ophelia's mind right now? Like, give us a check-in on, like, what she's thinking, what she's feeling.
There's almost like this desperate madness, like the pain internally and externally, like there not being any shelter, no respite, like seeing the temple, like no closer, almost makes Ophelia want to just bury herself in the dirt and just
give up.
Just find some comfort in anything, like whether it's a small hole in the ground for shelter, or I don't know, just finding a bug and biting its head off or something. Like, she's...
Yeah, give me a perception check. Let's see if you can find something, like like an old tree, like a dead tree, to find us some shelter. 14. You squint, and almost like a desert, like a mirage, right? The dust is just so endless, and you're like beginning to think, am I imagining things? And you squint, and in the far distance, over the dunes and these dusty plains, you can see more ruins and things scattered around here and there, and you swear that one of them looks like a kind of partially collapsed old clock tower from back in Osseous, and a well. And you think you can see a person and some sort of, like, is that like a wagon, like some sort of ox like wagon, and like just in your mind it's like an animal, blood, like something I can eat,
Yeah.
And that you can see them, that they're parked there, and you just begin madly making your way towards it, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
As you draw closer, give me a wisdom saving throw. 11. You are not sure if this is real or not. You have got to the point now where you are so desperately hungry and thirsty, even though your body's capable of still acting, you don't know if this is real or not. And as you get closer and closer, you see a heavily wrapped up figure. You can't actually make out what they are or who they are. They're so heavily covered in cloaks and shrouds and things like that, but they have a creature. It looks like a giant sort of lizard, and it has flesh. It's not skeletal, but as you draw closer, you see that flesh is rotten and is like falling off of it. And it's drinking from this well. And on the back of it is these like almost like large tent-like kind of canvas-like wraps. And you can see all sorts of goods are hanging off this creature. And there's even a chain leading from its back to a cage, and there's something in the cage, and it's being dragged through the dust behind the creature. And you just see this figure is there like petting the zombie beast and talking to it. Would you kind of approach stealthily at this point? Like, this is from a far distance. Like, you're now at the range where, like, you have to decide, are you going to approach this openly or are you going to sneak? Keep it in mind, you don't know if this is real. This could be a hallucination.
I think in her current state, she would just wander up, like almost like a zombie herself, just driven by her hunger and her desperation. Just
Sure.
Yeah.
You stagger, like kind of just making your way closer, and you see the figure turns around sort of at the sound of you approaching, and you see this figure is so heavily wrapped up there is no feature. You actually see just bandages underneath the cowl of the hood, almost wrapped up like a desert traveler would be to protect them from the sands. Has like the kind of wrapping over the face, nearly over the eyes, but there is this pair of glowing blue eyes in just darkness behind the shrouds. They're not skeletal, there's clearly a musculature to them, but it's all wrapped up in bandages. And written on the bandages is some script of a language that you don't speak, like completely covering everything. And you can see that they wear heavy chains with trinkets and keys and little bottles hanging off of it. They have big, thick leather belts wrapped around them with pouches hanging from it. And you can see that on the beast of burden there seem to be weapons and armor, and you see immediately that there is food and like a water skin hanging off this thing. And it's not like it looks like, you know, almost like a jerky is like being like wrapped up and is packaged into it and is like bound to the side of one of these satchel packs. And the figure sees you approaching. Ah, Rajan welcomes you, traveler. And
You are real.
I am real, yes.
Do you have food? Water? I can give you. I have leather. I have this bag.
Yes.
Would you like? Can I trade?
Yes, I am a trader. I am a merchant. I am the merchant prince of nowhere. I am Rajan. You are living.
Yes.
You are flesh and blood.
Yes, I am. Yes. Are you?
I am undead. Rajan. I was once a great sorcerer, and I gave up my life for immortality. You are, yes, the bag, this, yes, and the metal you have. I will give you food and water for these.
Yes. There, have it.
He takes them from you. Oh, these are good. And he puts them in the bag, and he pulls off this kind of leather satchel with strips of like hard meat jerky kind of thing and a water skin, and he throws them to you. You hear coming from that cage at the back of the beast, like, is someone there? Please, this man has captured me. Please help me. Help me. I'll do anything. Help me.
His head like snaps.
Yeah, you look over and it's kind of half buried. It looks like it's been dragged through and half buried in the dust as well. You see a rather well-dressed, kind of like almost like wearing like a doublet, but it's all tattered and worn, like everything here. Like the age of time has worn it away. And you see like a ghoul-like creature, a white. He's got like sunken eyes, like his pupils are just pure white. Half of his teeth have fallen out. He has like a ponytail, but it's all like thin and wispy and ratted, and he's ferally sort of like looking around. He's like, please, my lady, please, but this brute has captured me. I wish to be free, please. Would you help me? And the merchant just is like, be quiet, thief. You have not paid your penance yet. I am dealing with a customer.
What did he do? What is his penance?
He is a thief. He tried to steal from Rajan, and now he pleased to be freed. But you are a customer. Is there anything else that you require?
I think this should suffice. I don't know how long I've been here or how long I have left. but can I find you again?
Rajan wanders the Grey Wasteland. If you are lucky to have found me here, let alone this place is vast and wide.
It is a shame, and you can see that he has things like weapons, and there's all different kinds of weapons, great swords and axe. You see like clawed blade hands, and also one thing that would probably draw Ophelia's eye, because it reminds you so much of your home back in Osseous. It reminds you of a weapon the Countess would probably be seen wearing, a very fine rapier, with a blood jewel, like a sanguinite stone in the basket hill, and that's like slung up in a scabbard on the side. And there's like pieces of armor and like shields. You see like cloaks and clothing, like just random odd sorts of everything. And it's all there.
How much for the armor and the weapons? Is there anything I can give you?
I don't know. Is there anything you can give Rajan?
I could help you. Do you need assistance with anything?
Working for it.
I could find you something or punish someone for something.
This one is being punished enough. He is a good servant, perhaps, but Rajan wishes to... Until I am offered a good trade for him, he will remain where he is.
He spies the breath of the father in the bottle, and he says
a sip from your flask. I would let you pick anything from my wares. For a sip of the Grave Emperor's breath, gladly I would give you something from my wares.
And what would that do to you?
But it would be a great gift and would give me vigor and energy. It is quite a rare thing to carry the breath of the Father.
Okay, you may have a sip.
Very good.
Just one.
Just one. Rajan is a merchant of his word. You have my greatest promise that I would not cheat a customer.
And I can have anything.
Anything you desire.
any wares. My meat here, and he slaps the beast. Meat is not for sale.
I understand, yes. A fine beast.
Ah, yes, and he slaps it. It's clearly a rotting zombie. It doesn't even move. It's just like lapping up water, and as it swallows it, the water is then spilling out part of its open hide, it isn't going into its stomach. It's just lapping it up, and then it spills out on the floor everywhere.
His best life.
He's having a great time. Meats, he's just doing that. But Rajan pats him and he's like, yes.
But weapons, armor, I suppose if you want him,
And he points to the white at the back.
anything.
Okay. Could I have armor and a sword, the rapier with the jewel inside?
Well, I did say one thing, my customer, just one.
Oh, I will take. Weapons are so cool. Armor is useful. And I am literally.
Rhiannon is thinking.
The Rhiannon is inking. Oh, the sword is cool. Armor is useful.
Don't need armor.
Go with your gut.
killing.
I don't need armor for killing.
You got Dex.
Oh, Dex, I'll take the sword.
It was always going to be the sword.
Very fine choice. This belonged to one of the finest vampire swordsmen I have had the pleasure of meeting, and he pulls it off. My good friend Vladimir. He was so fine, such a fine swordsman. And he holds it out and he says, of course, may I have my sip?
Has he given me the sword?
He's holding it.
Okay.
He's no fool. Rajan of the Merchant Prince of
I
Nowhere.
will give him a sip.
Okay,
I'll
he
take
takes
one
it.
more.
He takes that first, and he just pops it. He takes one sip. And you see that all of the writing on his bandages that cover his body glows. And he's just like,
That is very good. Rajan is very pleased with this. And he
I'm
hands you
glad.
both back. A fine weapon that will serve you well, Altheya.
Thank you very much.
Please, please, mistress, please, my lady, I will do anything. Please buy my freedom. I'll be yours, your loyal servant. I, Thaddeus Flint, will do anything thou requires of me. Please, please. I do not let this madman drag me through the dust again. And he's just like screaming. He's like at the bars now, like pressed up against it. Please.
He's just laughing at him.
Oh, it'd be good to have a little man to eat.
I will point out he is very clearly undead. Like, it is. Yeah, there's not any sustenance to gain from this man. But maybe like a servant, like or like an ally, maybe. But it's up to you.
Nah, he can't come with me where I'm going.
Okay.
Nah, you'll be of no use to me.
I would be of great use, mistress, please. I am a fine scout, and I have many skills, and I'm handy with a blade if you should encounter trouble. Please, I would be not.
And you're a thief.
No,
Serve
not
your
to
penance.
you. No, not to you, my lady. I promise. I was a servant. I was a servant of Queen Camilla. I'm a courtier. I would be of great service. I would not dare steal from such a fine a lady. Just this merchant. I was so desperate. Please, please.
Oh, he's so pathetic. In a good way.
Oh, Thaddeus Flint.
Yeah. No. Serve your penance as I'm serving mine.
Please, mistress. Please do not let him take me. Please.
Just walk away.
I will kill you. I'll kill all of you. I'll kill everyone here. I'll feast upon your bones.
Good call, Ophelia. Ooh.
Rajan like goes and like bonks him with like a stick. He like picks up a stick. He's like, "Meh," and like jabs him back in the cage. No, please. Quiet. Rajan is not finished with you yet. Very well. Well, a pleasure doing business. It is so rare that I encounter a living soul amongst the Greylands, that you have not succumbed to become a skeleton or the untethered or some other beast. Shows that you are of great will. You must be here on a purpose, yes?
Yes, I am, just to fulfill the Greyfather's great purpose.
You are chosen by the Emperor himself.
I am.
Well, then, I will deeply hope that we meet again at some point in the future.
I too. I feel fortunate to have met you.
And indeed to you as well. What was your name, good lady?
Sister Ophelia de la Rosa of the House of Blood.
Rajan, Merchant Prince of Nowhere.
Fantastic.
Very well. Meet. Slaps the zombie beast of burn. It's almost like a big, what were the things of World of Warcraft? The Komodos that the Taurans were out on. Like they had these like big like dinosaur things.
Yeah.
These big like Kodo dragons kind of thing. And he kind of slaps it and it kind of... and it begins plodding away. Rajan quickly swoops up, sits on top of it, and just kind of and as it drags away, the great chain pulls taut, and the cage just drags through to just piling it up around Thaddeus. He's like pushed against the bars, like, curse you! Ophelia de la Rosa, I will have my revenge! Thaddeus Flint will kill you! And he's like just dragged away through all of this.
Man's his feelings.
I love both those guys.
When you hold this rapier, the sanguinite in the basket hilt, as you grip and pull it free of the scabbard, the sanguinite red gem glows. And you can now use your spells.
Oh, it's like a focusy thing.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
And as you feel this thing, so you can add it counts as just a rapier here,
Cool.
but this is almost like acting as a channel. And you almost, as you grip it, would hear the words of the Gravefather. Fight against the inevitable. Fight against all that stands before you. You feel that sort of reverberate you as if maybe, and I'll leave this to Ophelia to decide whether she believes this, but could it be that the Gravefather meant for you to meet this merchant and to take this sword? Like it called to you so strongly.
Yeah.
Maybe he put that merchant here to help you when you needed it so badly.
Yeah, think she'd believe that?
Whether or not that's up to Ophelia to believe.
Yeah.
And you continue on your journey.
Nice. Yeah, Ophelia will feel bolstered with a new confidence.
Yeah. Yep.
Holding the sword out, marching through, just ready.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Like trailing it through the sand as you walk.
Yeah. Just still dressed in like these rags, almost like it's that game Journey where you go through the desert and like imagine like Ophelia's rags just kind of trailing behind her and moving through it. But yeah, you now have access to your spells and your pact ability.
Awesome.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
As we see that scene,
Does anything happen to Ophelia's body, like, in our plane? No, it's still...
not that you can tell.
Still like the grave.
Totally different plane of existence.
And like I said, time works differently, right? Like this might all still be happening as you're bringing the body to here, like you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we fall back to Altheya now. You're all sat around.
Hi.
It is late. It is
Yeah.
probably close to 1 in the morning. Xantheus and Rowan, you are both feeling exhausted because you did not, you slept, but you did not really gain much rest from the night before.
Curse rest.
Even Gruff, like you and Daisy, like Daisy's struggling to like, she's been falling asleep, like, you know, a lot. She's struggling to stay awake. What do you guys like to do? Is there anything more you'd like to talk to Xantheus about? Is there anything more you would like to do?
So, as I said, 2 groups or 2 people were close to identifying this. The Inquisitors seemed to have an idea, but they offered their help. I don't know whether it's to remove it or to use it, but I don't think they're just going to kill me. And Blackwing sensed the magic and was terrified of it. I think if we went to Blackwing, he might kill me.
Oh. Well, that was my next suggestion of staying awake all night.
To,
Go to Blackwing.
well, the Inquisitors did give us a list of things to recover in order to get the curse removed from them,
True.
right?
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
Silver needles, 2 glass objects, I think, little vials or something.
Yeah, if you, I'll give you the full list because I think like it was very recent. Pure natural water, 6 silver needles about 3 inches long, a pair of clear gemstones or glass objects, just anything that's clear and about the size of like a palm, and a copy of Sir Mortimer Graves' poem "Cometh the Raven."
Yeah. Got that.
Well,
Keep in mind that as you are having this conversation, as far as I'm aware, Xantheus, you've not like pulled your tunic back up or anything. There is almost like a involuntary force that draws your eye to this thing in Xantheus's chest. Like you can't help but occasionally look and stare at it. And as you stare at it, the pattern, the gold and red and black almost seems to kind of shift and move along the surface of the metal itself.
maybe it's a good idea to cover it up.
Oh, I'm not walking around Ashen's Rest with this thing.
It has an energy about it that's...
An energy that Blackwing could sense. But yes, I intend to cover it up.
What did you think of the sisters? Did they, I presume, when that one took you into the back to talk to you, she spoke about this?
They blindsided me with a question about it. I don't know if they were detecting some kind of magic, but they were in my mind, and they asked me about my chest. I don't know what information I gave up to them, but their question came from somewhere. They seem to be aware of something.
And do you trust them?
I don't know where else to turn. I don't think it matters if I trust them or not.
then perhaps tomorrow when we get this curse seen to, because they have offered to help with that for a most agreeable price, at least the one that we can afford right now. So at least small steps first. We get the curse of Haring dealt with first, and at least you two then can get a good night's sleep. I often find that things look better in the morning after a good night's sleep.
The curse isn't the only thing stopping me from sleeping.
That's as maybe, but it's a start.
Rowan grips Xantheus by both his arms.
Ow. Okay.
We're going to get through this together, okay?
He's streaming with tears.
Okay, Rowan, okay.
It's
I
going
believe
to be
you.
all right.
I like to hope so, Rowan.
If
I
only
really
could
do.
Just pluck it out right now.
Do not.
I've got healing.
The healing will not get through. Don't go close to it. It's why I tried to stop you from getting close to my chest. Well, at least to not spot it, but also I don't know what this thing will do.
Well, actually, when you went unconscious the second time in that fight we just had, I must confess I forgot what you said about your chest and I touched it in trying to heal you.
But protected by, I don't know how much it ekes through the clothing or bandages or anything, but I wouldn't touch it as it is.
Gruff and Rowan, can you give me a, I guess maybe insight roll here? This isn't against you, Xantheus.
No?
This is like an insight into the situation.
Okay.
6.
22.
22. You remember that moment, Gruff, and you remember feeling metal. Like, the Xantheus's clothing is not particularly thick or, there's no magical nature to his clothing. You don't think that there would be any reason why his clothing would protect him. But when you look at the crown still shard, you can clearly see that those runes are almost like a net over it, like they're holding it in place. And you wonder for a minute, like, did you touch the shard or were you touching, like, something around the shard? Do you know what I mean? And yeah, there's just something that you pick up on that, like, actually, you're not sure if you did, like, touch it. Because there definitely seems to be a layer of maybe magic over it, but also, yeah, clothing, like, clothing wouldn't normally protect you from some sort of magical power like that. Like, it wouldn't normally shield you or anything like that from it.
So there was a moment when I was trying to heal you, where I felt the magic in that thing fighting against me to use my healing magic on you.
Fighting against the healing.
Yes.
Okay.
But I must say, who put those runes there?
I don't know.
They just appeared with it.
They were there when I woke up. A magic that I guess either came from this or was always a part of me, but just never realized until it had some kind of kickstart, I guess.
So you touched this thing and woke up and it was in your chest with runes over it.
Yeah, and now I can cast spells of this runic ability.
Because I think actually those runes might be protecting you or doing something.
I hope so. I don't know how well it's fighting against it. I mean, you can see, and there's like the spiraling burn marks and even, I guess, some parts of it very similar to the hand.
The area around the wound is almost identical to his hand, like black. The flesh turns like black and gold, and it has these lines of like fiery energy. There is something, I guess, for maybe more for Gruff, because Rowan, you're a bit of a wanderer, you're not as religious, but in the religious teachings in Ice Heart, you've seen prayer books, you've seen illustrated like kind of manuscripts of the Scions and Church. It is inherently like you took celestials and some sort of fiend or demon and you merged them together, mixed in with fire. Like there's this prominent sort of fiery theme, and it's almost identical to the crown that Sovereign's imprisoned into. Like it has this,
but it's also mutated. Like his arm, where the flesh has become blackened and charred, it's almost not swollen, but it's like bigger. Like it's become hardened, and it's a mutate, like almost warped or corrupted. And the same thing is happening around the chest.
Yeah, I guess like any on my left hand where there's sort of rounded scales. I guess on the other hand they're
jagged and sharp. Yeah. Yeah, it's taking what Xantheus is. It's not like transforming into something completely different. It's almost making Xantheus's parts take on this like more twisted form, like it, but it's still Xantheus's body. Do you know what I mean?
Can you read these runes on your chest?
I guess that's more. I guess that's a design thing. This is not Xantheus talking. Like,
Yeah,
not,
I think you would know that they're not. Well, you don't think that. You've never. You guys don't know every language and everything else like that. But they look more like runic sigils rather than being a written language.
Yeah.
But you don't know. Like it could be.
There is like parts of it that could be like a scrawling or something like. But generally, they're like geometric shapes and. Like circles and triangles.
Yeah, it's they're magical symbols, like that a wizard might like conjure to like cast a spell. They're very Doctor Strangey kind of runes. Do you know what I mean?
Kind of, yeah. So not really a language as such.
No.
I just wonder if maybe a starting point is identifying these runes, at least figuring out who would use them or the magic behind them or something like that.
Maybe. I just don't know. I guess Blackwing would be the one to ask, but...
And you did this mission alone? You had no accomplices?
No, I headed to Kelskaris alone.
And it was a house? Some sort of estate that had an artifact like that in it?
It was... I've never been to Kelskaris. I don't know what kind of place this was. But, again, I don't think we should go to Blackwing. Based on his reaction, their reaction to just the energy of this, I don't know what they'll do.
But we have... No, that Kim's remembering wrong. You went back, you didn't go back.
Yeah, and what was I going to say?
So maybe it's the sisters then?
Possibly. The Blackwing did give one potential avenue. It's just... You said to think small. This is thinking big. They suggested that the Proto-Magi may have some way of assisting with this.
Rowan steps back.
But the Proto-Magi. I mean, the vaults have been stripped clean. At least the ones that have been here for the known ones, the ones that have been here for the longest times. How are we to find any kind of technology or material or anything from these?
You'd have to find a new one that's not been discovered before,
And this is
or one that's not been opened before.
This
at least.
is like rare, right?
Well, it's tricky because the Proto-Magi vaults are unpredictable. Like they can be hidden in plain sight and nobody would know until the right conditions are met, and then they open up. They can be buried in like caves and tunnels in ruins. The ones that are known about were obvious and they've been picked clean. You know, it's where a lot of advancements in magic and things like that have come from. Maybe even like some of the not technology, but like, advancements in technology in general, high level spells and things like that have all been researched from it. But it is every now and then there are like people find these weird places and, oh, my child who has blue eyes touched a rock and a doorway appeared in the middle of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? Proto-Magi vaults, they have these weird unknown rules. Like they can just appear anywhere.
Yeah.
But generally if one is found out, there's normally a call put out by the local draconic lord or lady, or even by, the Empress's own administration, because the dragons want to, like, be the first ones to get whatever's inside, because there could be something in there that is immensely powerful and dangerous.
Yeah.
So there is
So we
generally
need
kind
to
of...
find one, open it ourselves,
Yeah.
go into it ourselves, and come out of it with the treasures.
There are guilds that there is a guild specialized in diving into vaults, and they are sanctioned by the government. Basically, they're like a government-sanctioned guild to go in and reclaim stuff on the proviso that then the administration gets to check everything that they find. Obviously, you get rogue adventurers and rogue parties who are like, we found a vault, let's get in there and get out kind of thing, like anything. Yeah.
So, not really an option, I think.
But it's not impossible.
No. If we happen to trip open a door, then I guess we can dive in and hope to find their magical crown steel scoop and pull this thing from my chest.
My question, obviously you guys can keep talking, is what are you doing about tonight? Because obviously to go and buy things, like if you want to try and get this curse removed, you're not going to be able to do that until morning. What is the plan? Are Rowan and Xantheus going to try and not sleep? Are you guys just going to try and stay awake the whole time?
I think after, this conversation kind of rounds off a little bit, Rowan is going to say to Gruff, first of all, I think we need someone at least to be sharp and alert for tomorrow if me and Xantheus are going to have another rough night. So maybe you should get some sleep.
I suppose.
And Daisy as well.
Daisy is passed out on the balcony.
You might be taking a rough.
She's fallen asleep.
Well, like her face against one of the banisters.
Coming down again. Exactly.
Good idea. It feels wrong to me not to stay up with the dead, Normally we hold awake, and at least on the first night.
A vigil.
Aye.
We've got the watch, don't worry. Ophelia's not going anywhere. No one's...
Get back here, lady.
I said Ophelia's not going anywhere.
Well, it's up to you, but I've got some coffee beans.
I mean, we're not going to sleep anyway. Right? And tomorrow...
You'll sleep, but you'll have nightmares, basically.
Well, yeah.
Like the previous night. You won't... So mechanically, as a point, if you long rest, those of you under the curse, you won't regain hit points, but you will get any spell slots. You will get a hit dice back. If you don't do that, you will get nothing. you can take a short rest, basically. For Gruff, as a point, because the inn is still dilapidated, if you take a long rest, you get half your max HP back, and you get 1 hit dice back. So if you do a long rest and it gives you more than that, just manually adjust it. You might need to work out what half your HP is. Just because the inn is not very comfortable. It's like in a sorry state.
And I'll get my spell slots.
You'll get all your spell slots and class abilities back. Yeah, they all come back just from here. Because you are in a safe place. If you are out in the wilds and you long rested and you're in a shitty situation, I might be like, oh, well, you only get 7 levels of spell slots back or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But here, you're in a pretty safe place. You're in town. It's dilapidated. It's not comfortable, but you're safe, so you get all your spell slots in that back. You just get half your max HP back, as in, like, if you're, it restores that amount, and then 1 hit dice back.
Yeah. So I think, I guess, as we kind of, have decided to wrap up and you guys staying up and Gruff, making sure Daisy goes to bed and stuff like that, I think the last thing that Gruff would want to do, and just be like, just one more thing before I bed down for the night. And Rowan, I might need a little bit of your help in this, being a skilled musician as you are.
Oh.
I imagine you'll be able to work your magic in a moment. And then Gruff is going to go up to where Ophelia is laying on the table and just very solemnly bow his head. And then after a moment, he's just going to start rhythmically beating his paw on his chest. And a bit timidly at first, but picking up his voice, he starts singing. It's not the best singing in the world. And it's a very low voice. And he's singing a sea shanty.
very mournful, very kind of quite soft. And it sings of the sea, it sings of lost sailors, and it sings of how we light a lantern so the souls can find their way home. It's simple, it repeats, and maybe as he sings it, Rowan starts to join in and finds that beat and joins in.
Just out of interest, because you say it's not very good, but can you roll a performance check for me, please, Gruff? Let's see.
Shall I
maybe
just give advantage
you can give advantage
because I join in.
Yeah, you're playing the music along. Maybe maybe it encourages Gruff, gives him a bit of confidence to sing louder.
16.
It's pretty good. Like, you know, it's Gruff is timid and shy, but when you come in with the support, you find that voice. And this is a sea shanty. This is a song you sang back in Ice Heart. This is something that would gather round and you would sing for the dead. And it is, you know, your voice isn't a trained voice, but it's a good voice. It's a deep voice. It suits this kind of song. That kind of like, you know, rhythm. And you would notice, because you're singing, it's like about death and stuff, right? There is a moment where, I think only Gruff would see this, but singing the song about death, you almost see kind of like shadows that are clung to Rowan and Xantheus kind of shift, as if the shadows were uncomfortable that you're singing this song. You would also notice that Tyrea is just stood on the balcony looking down, watching and listening. And she almost goes a little bit transparent, like her form becomes weaker as you're singing about death and saying goodbye to the lost and stuff. But you finish singing.
Yeah, I think some point towards the middle of the song, maybe after the chorus or something, I would slowly move up to the edge of the table that Ophelia's on as well, and I would assist by sort of just banging the table in rhythm to the song as well. But and not in a means to help out with Tyrea disappearing or my shadow vanishing, but
Xantheus, because you're doing that and you're at the table next to Ophelia, you're the only one who notices this. It takes a little bit of time, but just maybe after like the third or fourth time, Percival's copying you. Just on the table. Just like not make his skeletal hand barely able to make a noise, but it's very subtle and subconscious, but just following along.
Yeah, I would just let the song finish.
Yeah.
Just keeping that rhythm and feeling the confidence with which you sing it.
Yeah, it's a great moment. As that leaves and Gruff, eventually you go up the stairs, you pick up Daisy, take her to a bed. Xantheus and Rowan, even though you are not sleeping, I do need you both to make 2 rolls for me. A wisdom save and a constitution saving throw, please.
Wisdom
You
and
do.
constitution.
There is 2 points of fate in the pool, but you have to make 1 each, like 1 wisdom and 1 constitution.
Wisdom, con.
All right, what one we doing first? Let's do
Whiz.
wisdom first.
All right.
What's your worst?
My worst is wisdom.
Theme.
Yeah.
Oh, get them out of the way.
I have a -2.
+1.
Really? Cute.
9.
14.
All right. Xantheus, I'll come back to you in a minute, but that's a fail for Rowan. Can you make the constitution, please?
Hey, what we talking? I got a +3.
+2. 15.
That one. 4.
All right, that works.
Man.
That works really well. As the witching hour approaches and as it gets late, even though you're not sleeping, your eyes, for you, Rowan, your eyes begin to play tricks on you. And shadows are moving and things, you begin to hear whispers. It's unpleasant, and your wisdom, unfortunately, goes down by a further 1. For Xantheus, maybe it's the stress of revealing this big secret, maybe it's everything else, but
I'm exhausted after that.
your heart almost feels like something's clutching and squeezing at it, and that feeling doesn't really go away.
Yeah.
And it's a -1 to your constitution.
Ah, damn it.
So if it goes, don't forget, if it drops it by a modifier point, then you lose
Just
HP.
done that.
Mine had already done
But
that. on my
your
first
con
one.
didn't go down, just your
No,
wisdom.
my whiz, sorry.
Yeah, so your wisdom's gone down to a point, yeah, so you lose the modifier.
Wait.
And as a point, those DCs increase for the next night. Every night the DC gets higher.
Yeah, I know where I'm taking you guys from first thing in the morning.
Latte fun.
Latte fun, and then
I imagine that both of you, you know, for Xantheus, it's a much more physical thing. Like, you feel yourself tired and weakened. The coffee doesn't have any effect on you and things like that.
Oh, I mean, I've had my guard up for like weeks. So to finally unleash it is like my body is now saying like,
this is it.
your
It's the
nervous
consciousness,
system
your
is
physical.
shot. Yeah.
Physically, you do not feel good.
Yeah.
Like, this curse is ravaging your heart, basically. For Rowan, it is getting to your mind. And those things that you saw in the nightmares, you hurting your friends, you being this out of control maniac, the frightening image of the scarred lady, feeling those scars on your own face, like these horrible kind of images, even not in sleep. Like, as the sun begins to rise, you're like, out of the corner of your eye, you're seeing Tyrea stood there covered in blood, just like pointing at you and things like that. You're beginning to hallucinate as you do, as you walk around. And for Xantheus, like, even the slightest bit of exertion, you're like out of breath. You're like, like your heart, like somebody's literally squeezing your heart.
is Tyrea still like watching on? Because I mean,
So
I don't
you-
attribute this directly to Tyrea.
No, she's almost disconnected from this curse now. And the two of you would notice that Tyrea, there is a bit more of a peace to her almost. There's less fear around at least the four of you now. And you would notice that throughout the night, if you guys stay down with Ophelia's body, Tyrea, the scarred form, moves about the inn as if she was working, as if she still ran the place. She starts, like, those broken chairs, she telekinetically, like, lifts them up and puts them back in their place.
Like super slow, right?
Well, just like, you know, as if she went up and picked them and moved them herself, like. And she moves around, like, you see her go into the spare inn room that Gruff and Daisy aren't sleeping in, and you hear her, like, trying to put bed sheets on that don't exist. Like, she's going about the life that she would have lived, and there's almost a peace to her right now.
Does she move around us, or
Yeah, she moves around you. Like, she treats you almost
Not
as if, well, she treats you as if you were customers of the inn. Like,
Yeah.
you would probably find if you were sat at the table, like, drinking coffee, when you finish the cups, she comes over and, like, takes them away as if, you know, you were patrons of the inn who had just finished their drink. You know, she might bring you over an empty but cleaner cup, you know, with nothing in it.
Yeah.
You know, there's this kind of simulacrum of life to her now.
Okay.
But it does look like that fear and that rage and that anguish that she was suffering from, and this is maybe a bit out of character, your characters might not know that, but is being transferred onto the two of you, and she's unaware of that. She doesn't know that that's happened. And that is where we are going to end part 1 of today's episode. And just before we cut away, I think a certain someone deserves a round of applause.
really?
Oh,
That was
Hazel.
very good. Very
Thank
good
you.
job.
Oh, I
know you were nervous about it. I know.
was so nervous.
But you did an amazing job.
I was up until 5:30 in the morning writing up a lot of notes for this.
That's why you deserve a big round of
The
applause.
scribbles of a madman.
scribbles
It's
of a man.
organised, but it's mad.
It's not organised. It's scratchings.
Yeah.
Chicken scratches.
Maybe maybe not post that to the Patreon.
I'll post the
image.
The image that you do, yeah.
the image of the crown steel shard. There's a description underneath as well. I will post that to the Patreon, free for everyone to look at.
Yeah. I wanted to get that into the episode so it doesn't get cut out. But that is it for part 1. We will see you very shortly for part 2. Take care, everybody.
Back in.
Better not.
Bye.
Welcome back to Altheya Part 2. Our heroes have been having a very heartfelt conversation. Secrets about Xantheus have been revealed. A wake has been held for Ophelia. And in the Greylands, Ophelia met with Rahajan, the merchant prince of nowhere, made some trades for a weapon, and is now continued on her journey towards the Temple of the Gravefather in the Greylands. And that is where we're going to jump straight back in with Ophelia. I would like you, Ophelia, to roll a d4 for me, please.
Yay! Oh my god, it fell out.
This is a good sign.
That's a 1, bro.
There's a 1.
Alrighty. So there is one sort of final stretch of dust plain before you get into the mountains themselves. The temple, you're going to have to navigate through the mountains to get to the temple itself as well. But you've got one sort of stretch of dunes to kind of cross. And as you are making your way, this new rapier in your hand and feeling this kind of surge of magic that you're unfamiliar with, like knowledge almost flowing from the weapon into your mind of how to call on your blood and call on the power that's within it to cast spells. You begin to notice that across the dusty plains, it's almost not quite mirages, but translucent places of the living world are sort of trying to overlap with the Greylands, and you begin to see almost like not teleporting in, but like the world of the dead is overlaying with a city and then a forest and then a lake. Like it's almost trying to overlay these real world places with the Greylands. And to navigate this, rather than your physical senses, this is going to rely on your ability to kind of predict and see the way of magic. So I need you to make an Arcana check for me.
Okay.
To see if you can avoid the hazards and things.
20.
Wow. 20. Yeah. Not only do you make your way through navigating this strange magical landscape of like constantly phasing in and out of existence, but as it does, it leaves behind remnants of the real world that you managed to scavenge and pick up. So you managed to find some large pieces of wood and some large pieces of stone that you can add to your like crafting pack, basically.
Nice.
And those might be able to be turned into something if you would like. You will need to spend a charge from the Breath of the Father to represent as you're traveling, like running out of food and water and things like that. Because the stuff that you got from Rahajan is really just to satiate you. The actual breath is what's keeping you going.
Okay.
How many have you got now?
I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7, so I've got 5 left.
5 left, all right. This does mean that you have an opportunity. You kind of find like as you reach the other side of these like magical phasing in and out in the shadow of the mountains, you can take a moment to rest. And if you'd like to try and craft something or do anything, you absolutely can do.
Can I try and make a campfire with this wood and stone I've just found?
Yeah, absolutely. Try and give yourself like some sort of comfort and respite. Yeah. This I'd say rather than making, I'll let you choose basically. You can either make an intelligence roll or this would be a survival roll.
Oh, they're both bad.
Okay.
Fate, if you want to use fate.
And there are 2 points of fate.
Yeah, I'll use a fate.
All right. You spend a point of fate, so you add a d6.
Okay. 21. So survival would make that 20.
20. You, after so long, like you've tried to make weapons, you've tried to make tools, you get this like little bundle of sticks and scraps of wood that you've made, and you get some pieces of stone, and luckily some of it seems to be some sort of flint, and after multiple attempts, a flame begins. And it is like the Greylands don't know what to do with this, because there's no real wind here to blow it out, and almost the dust almost parts away. And you see that the land that you're currently stood on, like underneath all of this dust, is a great mausoleum. And the mountains aren't mountains, they are pieces of stone from some giant tombstones that have been chiseled and broken away into jagged mountains. And there's this,
piece of like worked stone underneath you that is enormous in scale and size. And fire, this land has not seen fire. And the fire does not know how to be fire here. But it provides warmth and comfort for a time. And then you watch as the fire comes to life. And it seems to almost not take on a shape, but the fire moves. And it moves towards you. And it doesn't burn you, it kind of clings to you, coalescing up your legs, your arms, until you are wreathed. Your rags almost are aflame, but it's not burning you or the clothing. As if the fire is desperate to cling to something that is like it. Oh. You are the only anchor that this flame has to this world. For the purposes of this, I'm going to basically give it that any creature that attacks you is going to take 2d8 fire damage as the flame is trying to protect you. Wow. And it's sustained on you. So you have like this flaming cape for now.
That's cool.
That's kind of trying to protect you.
I feel it'd be like panicked, like to start off with, just like ah.
Yeah. It's like the fire is almost like crawling, like almost reaching towards you. But as it does, it doesn't burn, and there's this pleasant warmth to it, warmth that you've not. And you realize, how long has it been? Has it been days? Has it been months since you felt warm? And it takes a minute.
Yeah.
And then you see the shadow of the mountains, these great tombstone mountains. And you have a ways to go. You have to navigate through these mountains to reach the temple. But you begin making that trek. Cool. There are multiple paths through these mountains. There appear to be trails, probably made by creatures like Rahajan or like other travelers that exist in the Greylands. You can try and follow those. That would be a survival check. It might take longer, but it would be the safer route. The more dangerous route is to climb. And that would be a strength athletics check. You still have your +3 from Gruff's blood. You would need to basically, climb and assail through these mountains, but you don't know what creatures or dangers might lurk here.
Yeah.
The paths would be safer, providing you succeed. If you fail on the paths, you will encounter trouble. With the athletics, the climbing, it will be faster and you'll not need to spend as many of your breath charges. But regardless whether you succeed or fail, there will be some sort of complication. Fail obviously being worse. You'll be in a worse situation.
Does like my spider climb help with that, with the climbing?
I would say it does, because you can just walk up it. But there is still going to be some element of like climbing and navigation, right? But you'd absolutely, I would say that you have advantage on that roll.
Yeah, I'll go climbing.
Alrighty. This is going to be an advantage athletics with an extra +3 from Gruff's blood.
All right, let's rock and roll, buckaroo. Ooh. Athletics.
Tastes like sea salt.
8, 9, 10, 11.
11 points. Give me a minute here. As you are climbing, you begin to see... You make your way up the mountains, and with your spider climb, there's no danger of you falling or anything like that. It's hard work. It's exhausting work. So do mark off 1 charge of your father's breath as you make your way up. But you're not at risk at falling. What does happen, though, is as you get higher and higher, you begin to notice nests of those skeletal vultures and buzzards. And they're scattered all over. And there's dozens of them, but they're just watching you. And the temple is not far now. Like, you begin picking your way, finding your way across the mountains, reaching towards the temple. And as you're doing so, a great shadow falls over you.
Oh, no.
And this shadow is much larger than anything you've encountered before. And when you look up, you see that swooping down, gliding towards you in an attack, is a giant skeletal vulture. And it is as it swoops down towards you, its tattered, membranous wings. It's got like it's kind of half skeletal, half zombie. It's like guts are like spilling out of its body and trailing underneath it like great ropes and tendrils of like ribbonous sinew and fabric. But this is going to be an initiative roll.
Rock and roll, hell yeah, let's go.
You said two of the only in D&D words, tendrils and membranous.
Membranous.
I don't even think membranous is a word. I think
No, but only in
What it is
D&D
now.
does it make perfect sense.
Yeah.
What do we get on our initiative, Ophelia?
22.
22.
Whoa.
This thing is quick and it's reacting fast, but you are faster.
Hell yeah.
So you have the first turn here. It is coming towards you. It is currently about 60 feet away and it's flying down towards you. But yeah, it is your turn to take. You have your... pretty much everything at this point is unlocked for you.
Awesome. I'm going to use my first spell and cast Toll the Dead, or
Oh.
this vulture.
Okay, well, do you want to read out what Toll the Dead does for us, just for the sake of any new viewers?
You point at one creature you can see within range, and the sound of a dolorous bell fills the air around it for a moment. The target must succeed on a whiz saving throw or take 1d8 necrotic damage. If the target is missing any hit points, it instead takes 1d12 necrotic damage.
Alrighty, well, I will roll a wisdom saving throw. This creature is not particularly wise. What's the DC?
12.
12. Fortunately, I do beat it on a 13, unfortunately. So as you ring, perhaps it's just your unfamiliarity with the magic. You do hear this dolorous bell, but this creature flying towards you, it does not quite grip onto it just yet.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to do on your turn? That was your action.
Bonus action rage, please.
So since coming to the Deadlands, your first time of feeling that anger, and I guess like, what does it feel for Ophelia? Is this like coming from like desperation? Is this frustration? What is this anger being drawn
Just
from?
her will to survive. Like, I'm so close.
You can see the
anything
temple.
to succeed.
Yeah,
Like, this
and
is
just
it.
dun-dun, dun-dun, you hear your heartbeat, everything turns blood red in your vision, your eyes become bloodshot, your muscles almost pump with like energy as you feel that surge, and this thing then dive bombs into
Hell
you.
yeah, let's go.
It does have multi-attack, so I'm going to be making 2 attacks. The flame effect will only trigger once per turn, by the way, so rather than every attack.
Did you just roll in that 20?
No, you didn't.
It's happening again.
You cannot kill what is already dead, Mark.
That dice again.
Is it the same
It was
dice?
this dice last time. That was a different dice.
It's happening
It is.
again.
But this time you're on, what, like 1,000,000 health? Full health.
And you are raging.
I'm raging.
And this is piercing damage, so you're going to half it.
Nice.
So
Just looked up to all the dead.
Toll the Dead.
16 points of damage, halved to 8.
No worries.
So this thing, its beak tries to bite into your neck. And it sinks in, but can you roll 2d8 fire damage for me, please? As the conjured flame will try and protect you.
Oh.
9.
9 points of fire damage.
Nice.
So you watch as the creature bites into you, it lets out a hideous shriek as the flames jump onto it and almost try and pushing it away from the thing that it needs to survive in this place. And yeah, it sinks its teeth into you. It does then try and rake you with its talons. I will use a different dice.
Well,
Do vultures have teeth?
That is only the beak, like the sharp piercing
it's
beak, sorry.
sharp beak.
8 AC.
Jagged, yeah.
Does that miss?
That misses.
That misses. So the talons you managed to fend off, like maybe with the rapier or like with the flames, you managed to kind of get it away from you. It is going to stay within melee range of you, and it's kind of trying to use its beak to bite down. And it's striking at you with its claws. The flames did seem to hurt it really badly, though.
Nice. All right, and that gives me a blood point as well.
It does, yeah. So as a point for your blood point, you only get one when you attack with a melee weapon. If you cast a spell, you don't get a blood point for that. All right.
Yep.
A bloink.
Nice.
Nice.
A point.
A point.
A bloink.
Alrighty.
That's not
With you.
We don't have to shorten everything down to a short word.
Schword.
Why not? Mumes.
I'm just gonna try and hit it with my sword. Try and
With your
take a
rapier.
Rapier.
Sure, go for it. Are you going to make it reckless?
I shall.
All right, you get advantage.
A reckless rapier.
Bloop. That's a 17. 21.
That is definitely a hit. Yeah, this thing does not look hard to hit.
D8 plus 2. Just check my.
You are raging, so it's another +2, so it's +4.
So 4 plus 4, 8.
8 points of damage. You watch as, even though it's piercing damage, you tear through the membrane of the wings, tear through what's left of its gut, ripping out parts of these entrails.
Hell yeah.
It sprays you with blood that sizzles on the flame, but a devastating blow to this thing.
Nice.
Anything else on your turn? That was you got a bonus action left. You got
bonus action.
movement. You can't really move anywhere because you're kind of balanced on a mountain while you're doing this. Luckily, you don't have to make any checks because you've got spider climb.
Yeah. No, I think I'm just going to keep wailing at this thing.
Alrighty, so
Where I am.
So stay where you are. All right, it is going to try and attack you again twice. The first one with its beak is going to be a 15 to hit you.
That does hit.
Oh, I do have advantage because you reckless. Huh. No, it's not an actual. It's still a hit, but it does not hit.
Now, eyebrow raised just ever so slightly.
That's 8 points of piercing, half to 4. So you take 4, and then tries to strike you with its talons with advantage. Oh, I rolled 2 19s. 23 to hit.
Yep, that hits.
Now the talons do unfortunately hit a bit harder, although not so much this time. 9 halved to 4.
4.
So another 4 points of damage.
Can I Hellish Rebuke as a reaction?
Spell slot hellish rebuke.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna make a dexterity saving throw. Correct.
12 to
What is happening?
That is a failure, and in fact, it would also before you roll your damage, it did attack you. So can you roll 2d8 fire damage for the living flame?
Oh god.
Oh my god.
8 and a 7.
Nice.
15 points of damage,
Fire damage,
and then can you roll your hellish rebuke damage?
2d10 for Hellish Rebuke.
I love
That's
Hellish
powerful.
That was the flame cloak, right?
The cloak.
3 and so that's only 4.
4 points of fat damage from the hellish rebuke. Hey, it all adds up.
It's a reaction.
And in fact, it is enough with maybe it's like the living flame. I really like this as a flavor because you took hellish rebuke. That living flame kind of joins with that magic. You feel like I have this flame is mine now. I can control it. And as it strikes you once, you then lash out again with this living flame as the hellish rebuke kind of takes effect. And you watch as this vulture is incinerated. You watch as it leaves. Unfortunately, you're not able to claim the resources because the bones just scatter across the mountaintop, like just fall around you. But they're just blackened, and it just becomes ash and is quickly dispersed into the wind.
Hell yeah.
I imagine you're kind of bleeding from the wounds and things like that. But like on the mountaintop, clung to the side, rapier in one hand, flames like reaching out from the other one. You look around and you realize that you are high up on these mountains, and you look around and you can see the Greylands stretching out before you, and you are on the same path towards the temple. And there is this moment of stillness as you look out on these vast, endless planar world of dust. And in the distance from up high, you can see like dust clouds as great legions of skeletons like move around. You can see ruins, maybe what looks like an actual city in the far, far distance, and just having that moment where you are victorious. With that, you will be able to reach the temple, but we are going to come back to the rest of the team.
Teeth.
Whoa, that's cool, man. Good spell picks.
Thank you.
Very cool.
I didn't know Barbarian could do that.
Weird, isn't it?
Trotimus. Crot, if you will.
Yeah, crot. We jump back to the rest of the team. Morning comes. The sun rises. Unfortunately for Xantheus and Ren, you are still suffering from those effects.
And no beak.
But Daisy and Gruff, you make your way down and see them sort of like keeping vigil, keeping watch over Ophelia's body. There is definitely rigor mortis is set in, like with Ophelia's body. She's not smelling, but like there's a stiffness to her now. Percival has not moved. He's just stood, as always, waiting for his mistress to tell him what to do. But yeah, you guys awaken.
Good morning.
Oh dear.
How did you sleep?
Oh
Sleep
dear.
well? Yeah.
I slept terribly. Yeah.
Good to know.
Daisy would probably be, oh yeah, me too. Oh, so bad.
Really
Oh,
bad.
so sleepy.
It's such a shame. Now we all feel terrible.
Yeah, I have a wisdom of 7. I'm like, yeah, they slept terribly.
I think I've been thinking a lot. We've had a lot of time to think.
Yep.
Obviously, we need to remove the curse.
From both of us, yeah.
Also, looking at Ophelia, she deserves a place to rest. Maybe we should start
Where were you thinking?
proceedings. Speak to someone at the cathedral, maybe. I know it's not her
Well,
religion,
I don't think that's where Ophelia would like to be laid to rest.
but they might have resources to maybe provide us so that we can put her somewhere where she would like to be put.
Well, she was starting to build a shrine in the outbuilding, right?
True.
I wonder if there's space enough to convert it, maybe turn it into a mausoleum or something. And I didn't ask her enough questions about her religion, so I wouldn't know. It's a good place to start. Something she built herself. There is a house of binding as well. Might be able to help us with preservation or something like that.
The House of Binding is the temple of Saint Altheya, who is the sort of the goddess of like the patron saint of death, basically.
The talk of putting Ophelia to rest is making Rowan just like
Oh, big boy.
stream tears.
Big green.
Oh, big green. Come now.
We lost a dear friend.
Aye. But, well, she went out doing what she loves,
Falling off roofs.
Not working.
not working. I guess that's one thing we can say about Sister Ophelia de la Rosa.
Fucking falling off,
great thing.
falling off roofs.
The scourge on society.
Oh, she loved to climb up onto those houses and just topple off.
So maybe when we're out shopping, we could get some nice things.
Maybe we check in with the House of Binding and see if there's a way they can help us preserve.
Okay.
Maybe they have a better idea of procedure for her tradition. I don't know.
You would, 100%, you would know that the House of Bindings, there would be acolytes there who can cast the spell Gentle Repose, which basically prevents like a body rotting and like it wards it against becoming undead, but it also like the body stays fresher for like longer, like if it takes you a long time to bury them and things like that, it kind of preserves the body.
The perfect spell to use on a fridge.
Maybe.
Can you use it on food?
It's a creature.
I believe it has to be used on a living creature or a dead creature. So you could use it on like chicken. You could use it on like a chicken.
Chimkin.
Interesting.
So who wants to go where?
Can't use it on vegetables or previously, like
Plants are
non-creatures.
feelings, bro.
They are, but they don't count as creatures in this. They don't count as huh?
It's organic, though.
Yeah, I did say that. I mean, I'm not saying that. That's why abjuration, because you shield it from the bacteria.
For those who don't understand, there was a whole thing in one
They
of our
know,
campaigns
they
about
know.
making a fridge.
Some people might not.
Some people would not.
Hey, watch the short.
What magic would make a fridge?
Anyway,
I don't mind going to the House of Binding. I also don't mind just going to the library to look for this poem.
I think that really needs to be a priority, is getting this curse off you lads, because no offence.
Why? Look at her with fangs.
You look absolutely dreadful. You look as my dad would say, you look shit.
I see things.
Away with words.
Straightforward that man was.
Well, where could we procure pure natural water?
Well, I might be able to help with that.
Good. Okay. I think it should be quite quick and easy to get all of these things.
6 silver needles, 2 clear gemstones, this fancy poem, and pure water.
5 gold rings.
No, not the gold rings. I don't think we can afford that. And then we need to go and visit the sisters at the Grumpy Hog.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Like I said, what else can we do? I know the Duke said to go to Blackwing, but I just don't trust him with this.
Well, we can cross that bridge when we come to it. First things first, remove the curse, find a way to preserve Ophelia.
Okay.
Sister Ophelia.
Yes.
of the House of Blood.
Yes.
De La Rosa.
Yes. Not in that order.
So my question is, how are you dividing up this task? Like, are you going to split people off to go get certain things? Are you going to travel around as a crew? And where are you going to go? Like, where do you have in mind to like come try and collect some of these things?
First things first, with the water. Would creating magical water count as
Yes.
pure? Okay.
In fact, it would be incredibly pure water if you created it with magic.
In which case, is there a whiskey barrel that has not been destroyed in this place?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can create clean, fresh water. It's probably like the old sink as well. Like if you plug it up, you can just fill that up. It's clean, but
Because I can create up to 10 gallons of clean water.
yeah. It's probably not a need for all of that, but yes, you can create.
Can I
clean
dump it on
actually
Xantheus, give him a
says-
bath as well?
It did say pure natural water.
Create water basically is like fresh spring water.
Okay.
Is what I meant.
Yeah,
fresh
yeah,
spring
okay.
water.
Pure
This
Xantheus.
Not
this count.
like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, basically undiluted by like filth or like people, basically.
Evian.
Live young.
Not
Gruffian.
sponsored.
Sponsored by spring water.
So yeah, that is like hands down. Just mark off a spell slot.
Yep.
And then that's done.
So Gruff
Okay.
will...
First level spell.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's Bristol tap water. That ain't pure.
Delicious.
That's not pure.
This stream is sponsored by
fresh.
hydration. I say drinking a can of Coke.
So pure.
Hey, don't discount.
Not hydration.
Ever disco.
Day, we'll get
I'm hydrated by it. So that's easy. What about the rest of the stuff? Are you guys going to split up? Are you going to go around as a
Rowan
crew?
recalls a place near the Grumpy Hog that's something alchemicals.
Kilos alchemical.
Kilos alchemicals, where I think we'll find weird things like silver needles,
Yeah.
potentially, and maybe those
Gemstones.
clear glass.
Have we been there before?
We haven't
Yeah.
been in.
Yeah, you've been in. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
the-
got
We
the vial.
perused, realised we couldn't afford anything, left.
Well, we got
got the
the
salve.
yeah, the
Oh yeah, we got a slab, yeah.
yeah, and but were there
vitality
a lot of like
There were not things like needles and things like that. It was like mainly like herbs and ingredients and things like that. Xantheus, you have like experience with like traders and things like that in business. The silver needles, you would probably want to go to a silversmith or a blacksmith to make something
or
like
a
that.
needlesmith?
Well, what about Mystique? What about...
Those would be like sewing needles. So, like you need like silver like long needles, like 3-inch needles. So yeah, silversmith or a blacksmith. So going to somewhere that would have that.
What did you say?
I love that band to 3-inch needles.
That really got Rhiannon.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Anyway,
The clear gemstones. Gemstones again. You would probably want to go to a jeweler's or somebody that sells like jewelry. So Mystique might have jewelry, like clear gemstones for jewelry.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted glass objects, glass blowers. Any kind of like artisans thing like that, you can easily find a shop for it in Ashen's Rest. Like there is a big like trade guild. The silver needles and the gemstones or glass objects. We don't need to roleplay it. You can just spend a bit of money, basically.
Okay.
So it would be 60 gold for the 6 needles.
I hand over a platinum.
oh yeah,
That's
I forgot
100.
he has a
So you
ton
get
of
40
money.
gold change. And then the 2 glass objects would just be 6 gold for those. Because you just buy like cheap like gemstones or glass sphere.
Do you want to take that one or shall I? He's mathing. Watch out, he's mathing.
I don't know if I trust his
Oh
math.
lord, he mathing.
I didn't actually convert the platinum into hundreds,
What
No.
was it, the thinking noise?
so. What
I'm dyslexic as fuck, don't look
do
at
you
me.
need? What do we need? How much am I paying?
66 gold.
Extra 6. Okay. Or is that on 66
No,
again?
it's just...
Is that including?
No, 66 total.
Yeah.
It's alright, we got there.
It's how I ruin you guys is just make you do basic
Math?
Yeah, yeah.
mathematics.
I think the only thing I would suggest is that I do not go to the library to get the poem,
Where's that?
because that was the last place I was with Ophelia.
Oh, but...
I know, isn't that miserable?
Rowan's happy to go to the library
One day we'll see happiness again.
or the House of Binding. You go to the House of Binding then.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll probably stick with Xantheus, because...
Great.
Boyle needs
So
looking after.
Xantheus and Gruff go to the House of Bindings,
Yeah.
whilst Rowan is going to go pick up the poem from the library. We'll do that first. You go to the House of the Quill and Scale, which is kind of used as the sort of town library, and the lawkeeper is there. When you inquire about this poem, the lawkeeper is like, "Oh, no, my good man. We mainly stick to academic and historical texts here. For something like that, there is a bookshop in the north side of Ashenrest, some sort of printing house. It's just off Greyforge." But unfortunately, yes, we don't tend to carry things like fiction and poetry here. Bookshop north.
Thank you.
Yes, it should be fairly obvious. It's printing house or printing company or something, and you can find it there. And he gives you like loose directions. Are you all right?
Yes. North.
Yes. Some sort of, it's called something printing house or printing company or something.
Printing. I walk away mumbling printing.
Yeah. You mumble away and you begin making your way north, heading your way through the different streets and things like that. As you're walking, Rowan, you see just like a little girl, like dressed pretty simply, like kind of the outfit, similar sort of clothing to like what Daisy wears, but for a younger girl. And she gets your attention. She's like, Mister. She like comes up.
Hello.
Why did you kill them? And you just watch as her eyes bleed and her face turns into a skull.
He just walks backwards, shocked, disbelief.
You killed them. You're going to kill all of them.
No.
They're dead because of you.
No, please.
And he starts running away.
Yeah, you run away. She vanishes.
Oh my god.
Told you
These nightmares are good.
Meanwhile, Gruff and Xantheus.
Meanwhile,
While they're clutching at chest.
In the total.
Yeah, Xantheus, as you make your way, the long walk to the district, as you do, going up the steps, heading towards the House of Bindings, you get halfway up the steps into the upper part of the district, and you have to stop right now. You feel like your heart's going to stop.
Gruff, hold up a second. I need to sit down.
what's wrong?
Like you are struggling to breathe. Like you can't get enough breath. Your chest feels like it's going to collapse.
In that case, I retract what I said and instead say,
What's wrong?
my chest, I can feel, well, it's,
Deep breath. If I count to 4, breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Can you give me a medicine check, Gruff?
No.
He's dead.
No pulse.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Yeah, like Xantheus is really struggling to get like that breath. Like he can't maintain that slow count. Like, like he's really struggling. You think he'll be all right if he just rests for a minute, but like it's bad.
but in that case, instead of counting to 4, I'll count to half a second, then 1 second.
You do see like a member of probably the Duke's Guard is like, is everything all right? Do you need help, or do we need to get a medic or something?
He's just winded. It's okay. Just.
All right, and they'll sort of go about their business. Yeah. It's like a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but you're eventually getting your breath back, Xantheus. Like you feel rough.
I think it's getting worse, Gruff. I think you're right. This is, we need to solve this now.
Okay, we're almost there. We've just got to get a few things. I'm sure Owen's gotten his things.
Hopefully.
Here, take my staff. It'll help you walk.
Can I summon the bird?
Sure.
I don't know why. I just wonder if I could.
You have to say the code word.
And what is that?
Seaside. Gruff is bluffing on his arse. He's just like making this up.
Seaside, okay.
And then if you say it,
Yeah.
then Gruff will do the magic to me.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
And there's, this spectral green cormorant appears and just, stretches its wings, kind of shakes its head as if shaking off water.
I think watching that, if the bird has some kind of flow to it, if it's like a rhythmic sort of movement, I'll try and focus on that to like regain some kind of remove the shakiness from the breath and try and focus on that. Is this staff is like, it's big, right? It's big even for you.
It kind of comes up to Gruff's head,
It's your
and
entire
then
length.
Saren sits on the top of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not
goes-
unwieldy.
It's not unwieldy.
yeah.
It's a wooden staff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I'll try and use Saren to sort of regain steadiness and composure to the breathing before we set off again.
I think seeing that, like, Gruff would be like, "Oh, look, someone's shown an interest in Saren. Life history about Saren."
Telling all about the birds as you make the rest of
I've
your way
shown interest
there.
in it before.
I know, but
It was just in the middle of the mines.
new facts.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got to tell you about her sister Ira as well.
Oh.
There's two of them.
You guys finish the journey. You come across the House of Bindings, the large temple dedicated to Xantheus. There's beautiful gardens set outside. They are mortuary gardens. You can see that there are some mausoleums and things. And behind them, on the far behind the wall, there is a large sort of hill, and you can see more mausoleums and things there. The temple itself, its doors are open and you can see inside. It seems to be a fairly simple looking structure. Inside there aren't any pews or places for like sermons or anything like that. It's more of a kind of functionary. There are side chambers where maybe the dead are prepared, and then there's a ceremony for people to like come and say their wishes. But you don't see anybody inside. Instead, outside, just in front of the House of Bindings, in amongst the mortuary garden, you see a priestess. She's actually an elf, like a full elf, not a half elf, but she's young. You can tell that she is probably, you know, for an elf.
Years.
Well, yeah, for an elf, she's probably about 100 years, but obviously still looks like an adult. And she is wearing long black robes, but there is an element of finery to these robes. There is like beautiful trim and like gold lacing, and the sleeves, one arm has no sleeve, it just has like a drape of fabric, and then the other one has like a very tight sleeve with almost like an archery guard of black leather. And you can see that she's actually in the mortuary doing archery. And you can see that she's blindfolded as she's doing it. And it's the Japanese style with the long tipped bow where they really draw it like a ceremony. And then, and it flies through. And you can see that there are like target practice boards set around the mortuary garden, and she's practicing. And there are a few people watching it. There's maybe a couple of acolytes who are like watching. Looks like they're maybe preparing arrows and like, you know, participating in the ritual of it. But they take a few shots and...
All of them blindfolded?
The acolytes aren't, no. Like the ones who are helping and prepare, but the elf is. Eventually, as you guys approach, the acolytes kind of say, "Oh, Right Watcher, there is someone here, someone at the temple. We have visitors." And she nods and takes the blindfold off, hands that and the bow off, and approaches you. And you can see she has ornate tattoos, all of like almost like a skull face, like kind of like tattooed around her eyes and like down into her mouth, her long elven ears. Being a elf, there is still that element similar to Blackwing where she looks like what you expect an elf to look like, but in the broad daylight, there's none of that kind of shifting appearance like Blackwing has. She looks exactly what you, and she just looks like an elf. Her hair is actually being pulled taut back into like a tight bun, but you can see it's quite long and it's been styled up into braids. And she will say, "Greetings, good morning, good afternoon to you. What brings you to the House of Bindings? How may I help you?"
Would Gruff know how to address her? Like...
Yes, Right Watcher. The Right Watcher is as in R-I-T-E Watcher, like the one who watches the rights.
Yeah. Kim's in love with her, by the way.
Sure.
Kim's smitten.
Yep.
Okay. Good morrow, Right Watcher. Sorry for disturbing your ritual there. We've had a death.
My condolences. I hope that it was peaceful.
It was absolutely anything but that.
I am sorry to hear that. Sadly, this is the nature of things. We hope that death can be peaceful, but it is not always so.
But at least she went out fighting and...
Yes.
That is quite honourable. Dithir's gaze, Dithir's aim be true.
That's the problem.
Yeah, there's a small hitch there, I suppose. This woman came from Osseous and had different traditions than we hold.
Yes, we are taught a little of the nation, the kingdom of Osseous. Not too much, but we know that some of their beliefs are somewhat connected to some of the teachings about Saint Dithir. But obviously we know that their afterlife and their belief in death is very different. I'm afraid that I don't know the rites of Osseous myself. If there is some other way that I can be of service to you or assist.
There is a matter of, we were wondering how to preserve her body.
Yes, I can send an acolyte to you to preserve the body. There are rituals that can be conducted, holy oils, that sort of thing that can help with that.
Yeah, I think we want to put her to rest in the appropriate way that Ophelia would have wanted.
May I ask, when did she pass?
Yesterday.
Then we still have some time before that is urgent. But yes, I can send an acolyte. Where should I send them to? Are you staying here? You do not strike me as citizens of Ashenrest.
Actually, we have the body currently at our residence, I suppose. What was called the Enticing Devil Tavern, south of the town.
She nods. She doesn't seem to react to that. She's like, "Oh, please forgive me. I am not so familiar with Ashenrest myself. I have only lived here a short time. But the acolytes will know where that is."
Don't let them go. Tell them to knock on the door, but don't go in.
Maybe call for us from outside the garden.
Yes. Is there something we should be aware of?
Oh, just a little bit of ghost troubles.
That is disconcerting. We cannot have spirits roaming around.
Oh, not roaming around. No.
No, she's just in the house, in the inn. She doesn't like it when strangers come in.
I see.
We're working it out with her. It's okay. We don't want any action taken against her.
Well, if those are your wishes, even during the day, is this still an issue? Some spirits are. It is rare that spirits are active in bright daylight.
Mostly during the night, but as we said,
we will send. I will have the acolyte call out to you.
Thank you.
From the street. But yes, I can have an acolyte sent there with. Would you require burial shrouds, wrappings, oils, incense, that sort of thing? We can provide all of that as necessary.
I suppose all of it, and yeah.
I just don't know how much of it is breaking in tradition.
I'm afraid I cannot help you on that. Yeah. It is a whole other faith. Not one. We are told of them in a purely sort of instructional manner, to recognise that they have beliefs about death and undeath, but the details are lost to me. I must say as well, there is a small donation fee of 10 gold for these rites and things like that.
Of course, and then Gruff will count out 10.
Yeah, an acolyte comes over with like a little wooden collection box, and you pop it in there. It's just literally to cover like the cost of like oils and incense and things like that for the ritual. But yeah, the Right Watcher will say, yes, of course it is. Even if the dearly departed is not one of the faithful, I still take my duty in preserving the body of the dead quite seriously. I'm sad that I cannot perform the rites and that she will. That Saint Dithir's arrow will not find her, but we do our best to offer what services we can.
Well, sometimes I think that's what counts, right? Is just trying something.
Yes, of course. Yes, I will send the acolytes to you as soon as they are available.
Thank you, right.
We have a few services to provide, but to perform, there was a few of the Carpenters Guild were killed and things like that, so we must attend to that as well.
Good to know.
Okay.
We'll be leaving now. Come, Xantheus.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, they will send somebody to come in and set the thing. And rather than role-playing all that out, because Tyria during the day is not as active, like, you would be able to have this acolyte come in. Maybe Daisy warns Tyria, like, hey, this is going to happen, but it's fine.
But what the building where Ophelia was
So you
building
can't
the
get to
shrine-
it without going through the inn
You have to go through the inn, okay.
Because there's a big
Yeah.
iron fence that goes around the whole
Yeah.
land plot.
Yeah.
So the only way in is through the inn right now. Obviously, you guys can change that if you start
Yeah.
remodeling and things like that. But
And
right now...
is the building big enough to inter Ophelia?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It's like a small little... like a small barn,
Yeah.
basically.
So I feel like maybe we'd move the body there.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially because there's a shrine, half-built shrine. Some
There's nothing's been built in there or
Nothing
anything. Like, I
yet?
think you
Okay.
cleared the space away,
Yeah,
really,
right.
and like you laid some of your like actual like grandfather statues and stuff like that in there, didn't you?
Yeah, well,
but you don't have like a coffin or anything, so I don't know if you want to like dig a hole because the barn is just like dirt floor, like it's just
Yeah, yeah.
grass. So you could just literally dig up the earth and put Ophelia's body in there.
I don't know. Is that what they do in Altheus?
You have no idea.
I look over at Percival.
Percival has just stood by Ophelia's body.
I don't
If you
think
take Ophelia's
they
body,
do.
if you take Ophelia's body into there, like Percival follows. But
I feel like they're a very mausoleum kind of people.
I feel like they let their dead wander free, to be honest.
That too.
yeah, you could just like lay her body on the ground and like not bury her.
Well, I do. That's the thing I keep clinging on to, right? Is what if she comes back as dead or as like
well.
a Percival?
Possibly.
So maybe we should make it easy. I don't know.
I think we should preserve the body for now
Right.
and then find out as much as we can
Yeah.
to do this properly.
Good
I don't
idea.
want to bury and then find out that
Screw
it's
it.
some sin.
God, imagine if we did a cremation.
Ooh, wouldn't like that.
No.
Meanwhile, I want to ask like, where does Rowan run to? Like, what happens with Rowan after seeing this terrifying girl that just, assaults your mind? This, you don't know this, but it's a hallucination. Where does Rowan run to? Like, what's he doing? What happened?
I guess it would be instinctual at this point.
Yeah, he just runs,
He's
right?
just kind of like holding his head. And it's kind of like that hazy, just taking a grenade nearby, like ringing in the ears.
Mm-hmm.
Those words are just kind of looping in his mind, and he's stumbling about. You probably instinctively go to the closest place that's comfortable, I guess, which would be the
so
Clever
you-
Toad.
It's not nearby, no. But you
I'm
could
right
go
around the
there.
corner.
You're
Yeah.
at the House of the Quill. You're actually quite next to the Grumpy Hog.
I've never been in there.
Here we have.
Yeah,
I have been in there.
We had a
Yeah.
meeting with Ophelia in there for a while.
Or if you went a little further, you'd be at the House of the Rose, the bathhouse.
Onto the bathhouse.
How about this? As you are stumbling around, something that shakes you out of this, stupor, is as you go to pass the Grumpy Hog, you hear music. It's good music. It's not. There's lute, but there's drums. There is like a tambourine, and you hear a very, very soft and delicate voice. You only catch the end of a song before the lyrics. You only hear like the last few kind of notes, but you vaguely hear a kind of like, and then it fades off and you don't quite catch all of it. But you hear like a raucous round of applause. It kind of has like a medievally kind of like bard song kind of like tune to it. And that is just enough where you're like, ugh, like, and as you're stood in front of the tavern, like that kind of draws you out of that moment.
It's 3-inch needles.
I just try and center myself at that point. Remain distracted, maybe get my own loot out and start looking at its intricate patterns and designs, maybe tuning it, that sort of thing. Just mindfulness.
Mindfulness and something that you find comfortable and knowledgeable and things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like maybe like you can pluck a few notes of that song because you did hear it, like the and you kind of like and yeah, the lute strums and it hums and vibrates softly in your hands. There's something soothing, like the rolling river or the vast grassy plains of the steppe, like really kind of settle into your mind, and you know that girl wasn't real. Like you imagined it. You're tired. you're tired. That's all it was. Like, you know, it didn't mean anything.
That's what I'm telling myself. That's what I'm reassuring myself with. And then, I just kind of get lost in a song.
Sure. Yeah. Looking inside, you do see, there's a small band playing. It looks to be a Nalinari gentleman, kind of soft white hair, purple skin, very well dressed, and he's joined by a kind of trio of other musicians. It looks to be like a kobold on the tambourine, like a kobold girl wearing like a very frilly kind of like pink dress, and she's clapping a tambourine. She has like loads of earrings and jewelry on. You can see that there is a big orc lady as well. I mean, she's got like a drum and she's beating that to go with them as well. And they're playing some songs, and they're sort of kind of playing a kind of greatest hits, like Bard's favorites kind of thing, like the famous songs that people kind of all know, like equivalent of pop songs, basically.
No, that's what I call.
That's what I call Altheya. Yeah, that's what I call the Dragon Empire. And yeah, you kind of hear that, and like you can listen in on a few of those songs and stuff like that.
I take some time, obviously, to enjoy that. And when I feel comfortable and energized enough that those haunting visages are behind me, I get back to the task.
Sure.
Try to
find this bookshop, basically.
Yeah.
You eventually find it. You have to travel north into Greyforge, and you kind of roam around some of the streets. I don't know if can you pass me your map? I don't think this is a location I've put it on there yet. So this is one of the first ones I get to add.
I might also ask people in the Grumpy Hog for some directions to this place.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of locations up north on the map, but
yeah, this is not on there because this is a unique location. This is number 24.
Location discovered. Level up.
And you see
well, ding.
Yeah, the worst kind.
You see, it's not a particularly large store. It's the ground floor of a building. It's a small printing shop with a mixture of books from leather-bound academic journals to bronze backs, which are cheap episodic fictions on like a rotating display stand. And they have very sort of evocative hand-drawn images. You know, these are the kind of your Mills and Boons and your, famous Five Go Adventuring and that kind of stuff. And the name of the store is called Tombs & Co. Printing House. You see that inside there's a little gnome lady. She's got the brightest pink hair you've ever seen, and she's wearing like a little suit, basically, like a little sort of like lady's suit with a vest. And she's just going around adjusting a couple of the books. And it's only a little place. You're actually going to have to kind of really squeeze to get in there, Rowan, but you can definitely fit in just about.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, hello there. Please come in. Welcome to the Ashen Rest branch of the Tombs and Company Printing House.
Oh, it's a franchise.
Oh, yes. We're all around. No.
Don't do that.
No. Yes. We are. It's only a little branch, but we're here to sell our works and fictions. Are you a reader?
Oh, yes. I read so much.
What do you like?
All kinds.
Oh, wonderful! Just like me.
You name it, I'll read it.
Do you like the Morrigan Vale series?
I probably would.
Oh, well, but we've got the new one in, It's just been finished.
Amazing. Well, I'm looking for a particular poem, if you have
poetry.
Yes.
What a romantic. Oh, wonderful. Yes.
Sir Mortimer's...
Sir Mortimer Graves? Oh, yes.
Cometh the Raven.
Cometh the Raven. Oh, it's a classic, an absolute classic.
Yes.
Well, it's a very short poem, but we have an anthology of his. We've got a book with a collection of his poetry.
Oh, the whole works.
Not the whole works, but his sort of most famous.
Okay.
Some of them weren't as well known, but yes, let me find one for you. And she goes around
very much,
and she scoots around, and she comes out with a small black sort of leather-bound book. It's quite a nice one, and it just has a symbol of a little raven, and it's a collection of Sir Mortimer Graves' poetry. Basically, it's just like it's an anthology.
Oh, fantastic!
And she says, like, yes, here we are. It's a wonderful copy. That would be approximately, let me see here, and she goes to a little list.
1 gold out.
That would be 5 gold pieces.
Oh,
that one.
Great.
You expect
it's quite thin,
okay.
And it's thin leather. It's not like a big chunky fancy tome. It's quite thin. It's
it's not super many pages, and it's very plain. It's not a very ornate book.
Do you have a little bag?
Oh, yes, it is a silver piece of bag. But it's like a little Hessian woven bag, and it has the Tombs and Company printing house logo stamped on it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, and don't forget, and she gets you a little piece of card, and she stamps it. 10 and the next one's free.
Amazing.
Bag.
Put that in the bag.
No, the book. Yeah. It's the it's all stamped up, all branded.
Bag tax.
Oh, now, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
I've noticed you've got that beautiful instrument, and you don't strike me as sort of the person, my usual clientele. Do you participate in sort of exploration and sort of, go about the world doing exciting things? Could I call you an adventurer?
Well, I'll tell you a secret.
Yes.
Back where I'm from,
Yes.
they call me the Resonant Wanderer.
That is what a lovely name.
Yes, I don't know what it means.
Oh, well, the only reason I mention it is we've had a call from head office, and we're always looking for individuals who've got exciting stories or who might be interested in pursuing leads that we have about rumors and things like that, because we're always looking for new things to write about.
You a writer?
Me? No. I dabble. No, but well, I mean, I do have. You don't have to buy it now. And she pulls out, and you can see it's like handwritten, like it's a handwritten copy of something she's working on.
Please, I couldn't take an original.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm always looking for beta readers, people to tell me if it's any good. I need feedback. I'm hoping to get it published. It looks. You read the title, and it is very clearly an erotic romance.
How much?
No. Please, a gift. You take it.
The dragon comes in the night.
Yeah, it would be called. It would be called like His Majesty's something, like
Scepter.
Yeah, His Majesty's Scepter or something like that. And it's about like a handsome dragon who falls in love with a young gnome woman. As it turns out, it's very self-insert.
He had the most vibrant pink hair.
Yeah, there's definitely an element at work here. Yeah.
I was like,
but yeah, she pops that in your bag for you. But no, you should. This is a head office thing. But if you ever find yourself in Kelskaris, they're always looking for folks who are interested. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for the
Of course,
lead.
you're most welcome.
Vibrant.
Most welcome. And there you go.
Vibrant.
Oh,
the whole thing.
Oh, it's the...
Oh, thank God, it's the.
yes, it's my erotic fan fiction I've written.
This is Cometh the Raven.
Yeah, this is. So you flip through it and you find the page with Cometh the
This
Raven
is
on it.
perfect. Just what I needed. Thank you.
Perfect.
So
Well, I'm glad. I hope you enjoy it.
I will. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll be back with many adventures.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Recite.
Yes, please. And she sort of waves you goodbye.
I hit my head on the way out.
Yeah, you absolutely would Gandalf style.
So sorry.
No, you're all right. Are you all right? She's like calling out to
God, no! Ow!
you. She's just like,
There's a dent in the door frame.
Yeah. I think it's more that
like me.
I like the idea that Rowan says no, but not about like he hit his head, more about everything that's
Everything.
happened. He's just like no.
Nothing's okay.
He just like walks off crying with his little tote bag.
Yeah, clutching the tote bag, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I would, thinking that everyone else has kind of done their thing and I've kind of spent way too much time regathering my thoughts, I'd head back to the Enticing Devil.
Okay, I thought you were going to go put a coin in the toad.
Well, God damn it, I will.
No, you said you didn't.
I kind of want to now.
Well, too bad.
Yeah. Any of those
One left.
any of those prophecies come true?
All of them.
So far, pretty clear.
Well, you said you were heading back, so you're heading back.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
You make your way back, and yeah, you all gather at the Enticing Devil.
Would we not maybe make plans to meet at the Grumpy Hog? 'Cause
You could
that's
totally
where-
do that. Yeah,
That's where
absolutely.
the sisters said they
Yeah.
were going to be.
Absolutely, you can do that.
Oh, I mean, Mark was about to say, when are you going to get the Inquisitors?
I literally was going to be
Yeah.
like, well, so how was your plan? No, you guys make your way to the Grumpy Hog, and
Can I have remembered that then?
Yeah, sure.
Just want to
we'll just clarify. It's no point like role-playing any of
Because
that
Gruff
stuff.
did ask before they left, like, where are we going to be tomorrow?
Yeah.
And you make your way back, and stepping inside, the band has finished playing. The band that you heard earlier, they've moved off somewhere else, or they've left the tavern, and sat enjoying probably lunch at this point. You see Malady and Benedicta, Sister Malady and Sister Benedicta of the Ecliptic Order. Benedicta has like a massive plate. She's finished all of her food. It's like literally bones and like scraps left. Malady just has a bowl of like a very thin-looking herbal soup, and she's barely had half of it. And she's just sort of sipping at it casually, drinking water. Benedicta definitely she would smile, like she is generally like tries to be a friendly kind of like welcoming person, so she smiles and like nods her head in your direction. Good day to you, saints and scions, to you, blessings. And she like nods her head and smiles.
Saints and scions to you.
Hello again, hello, and she like nods, and she probably would, especially like Rowan, she would greet warmly, and Gruffith as well.
Like, over his shoulder, but
It's just like it's quite small. It's like tied in.
Under the armpit.
Nice to see you again.
And to you as well. And Benedicta is a lot more cold with Xantheus, whereas Malady, there's like a twinkle in her eyes. Again, like very sickly pale. You can see that like her thin hair is like almost stuck to her like with sweat. And she... good to see you again, Xantheus.
And you.
And to you as well, Gruffith, I believe, and Rowan, is that correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. Did you have much luck in procuring those required items?
The tote.
Believe we have everything we need.
Put the water on the table.
Clear glass, 3 silver needles, the pearl.
It was 6 even. You've got all the items.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. We will need a space to perform the ritual, and I know what you're going to tell me. I know that you have this spirit, and you do not wish to see the spirit harmed, but if the spirit was the one who cursed you, the ritual will be most effective if it takes place where the curse happened.
Well, during the day, we found better luck with inviting people in.
Spirits tend to be weakened during these hours.
Would this ritual harm the spirits?
They may find it encouraging to move on, but if the spirit is strong enough to have lasted and manifested in the ways that you have described, I don't think that this ritual will be enough to drive her away. I don't believe it will harm them. No.
I'm just wary of angering her.
Angering, perhaps not.
Okay.
Perhaps I should reveal more now that you have gathered these things and clearly chosen to seek our assistance with it. This ritual, the curse that you are affected by, this curse of harrowing, what it really is, to explain a bit of the magic, is the spirit that you have encountered is a tormented soul. They have suffered some great evil or wrongdoing, and that torments them. It haunts them with pain or with fear. And that curse, in a way, has been projected onto the two of you. Her fears, her nightmares, her anguish has now become a sort of malignant magic of its own, and it has clung to you. The ritual purges you of that magic. It relieves it from it. It separates it from you so that we may properly dispose of it.
Does it return those energies back to Tyria?
No, that is what I'm hoping the glass or clear crystal objects you have. The idea is that we will catch it, and then I will take it and I will dispose of it in an appropriate manner. Destroying malignant energy of that kind can be a little dangerous, and I would rather do that in safer confines. Forgive me, my illness is... She's like really like struggling, and she coughs, and you actually see blood like come out as she's coughing, and she wipes it away. Benedicta is like, "Sister, are you all right?" And she's like, I'm fine.
Will this ritual take its toll on you personally?
Yes, it will. I will be weakened for days after this, but it is the nature.
We do have alternatives.
What would those be?
Well, the Duke suggested we go seek out Blackwing.
Yes, this elf who lives here in Ashen's Rest. They are quite an old elf, as I am led to understand.
Yes.
I would not trust them.
No?
No, the elves are
before they came to Altheya, before they sought refuge here on our plane, they are mercurial beings. They are beings of fancy, of trickery, of flights of fancy and passion. They can't be trusted with certain matters. They may take an interest in you now, they might help you now, but who knows what they might demand later on, or what bargains that will be required for you to make with them. I would rather sacrifice my own health than have you turn to a planar creature.
Well, it was the Duke himself who suggested we seek out Blackwing.
Yes. The Duke is... And Benedicta is like folds her arms. She's like, the dragon is not a very pious individual, and she seems a bit sort of like puffed up about that. He does not approve of many of the church's teachings.
Well, we were also given a task by the church by Sansor Ilkara as well, but
How interesting.
yeah, she told me of a creature in the hills across the Ruby River,
Yeah.
bathed in a golden light, but has some kind of corruption with it.
She smiles as you're explaining this, and you can't help but notice, Xantheus, that she like gives you a look. Really?
Now that you're recanting that after hearing what I said, is there like almost
I
a
think
realization?
that's why I stumbled in real
Right,
life just
okay,
now.
okay.
Because as I started recanting it and I read about the corruption bit, I was like, like that was legit. Like I stumbled.
And that makes sense that
Yeah.
Gruff is like, oh, fuck, like...
Yeah.
Malady just smiles and says, how curious. But this creature is across the river, days away, days outside of Ashen Red.
So we'd have to kill it and cremate it and scatter the ashes while saying a prayer to Pyrrhus. So
Oh, the sun be praised, of course, hoping that such a creature exists in the first place. And you see Benedicta is like, sister, Benedicta enough.
Gruff will give her a quick look and look down and kind of, yes, and it's time we don't really have right now.
It is not. This, it has been what, 2 days since you acquired this curse?
Sorry, I want to go back a little bit there.
Sure.
You said hoping a creature like that exists.
Yeah.
I want to.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's even any insight needed there, but like.
You can make an insight check.
Yeah.
Well, because insight isn't just, is she lying? It can be like, is she trying to tell me something that I'm not figuring out? Like,
Read between the lines.
yeah, this can be your character, because your character might be better at reading somebody than like you as a person are, right? So like,
Yeah.
and also I'm not playing exactly as the person would be.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a part there of almost like you just let something slip there.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Would you want Gruff to roll as well? Because Gruff
You
was
can- anybody
starting
can
to
roll.
put something together.
Yeah, I'm
so
saying
I
you
don't
guys can
know.
roll. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Rowan is not piecing this together.
No, Rowan's just happily, yeah.
I rolled nat 20.
Oh,
Give me the total.
4, 24.
24.
I got a 16.
16. I think both of you will get this. Gruff, you'll get a bit more information. Xantheus, I mean, she knows that creatures like that exist.
Yeah.
She's implying that the Sun Sword is lying about this. Like,
Right.
she's implying that the Sun Sword is sending you on a wild goose chase. Gruffith, you pick up that, like, Sister Malady does not trust the Sun Sword here. And you have a feeling that perhaps since last night, maybe she's learned more, but she's not saying anything publicly right now.
Would he necessarily? I'm trying, like, I'm just lining up things in my head, and I'm trying to figure out if Gruff would be putting this together, because Kim's put something together that I messaged you in all caps about.
Okay.
And
I
got
I think
What's
that like
Gruff's
Gruff is
intelligence?
absolutely like.
his intelligence. He's not intelligent, but he's wise. So
Is his intelligence 10 or higher?
no, it's 8.
Okay, so I'd say that maybe like he's
Stuffed it on
beginning to figure something out because he's not book learned. Like he grew up
yeah.
in a place where like
Well,
it was
wisdom
more
might
about
still be enough
practicalities
to-
and stuff. I'd say that like yeah, as Kim, like if you figured something out as Kim and you want Gruff to believe that, absolutely you still can.
What you cooking?
Well,
I don't
Keep
say
in mind that
yes.
right now,
And Malady, like, occasionally looks around because you are in a very busy, quite public tavern, and she's being very coy with her language as well. Like, and she says, yes, well, I mean, time is of the essence. Likely you have encountered how severe this curse can affect you.
Yeah, Rowan looks down at that, kind of breaks eye contact.
She, like, nods and looks at you like, it is a terrible thing to burden fear, anguish, terror that this poor spirit has had to endure.
I feel for Tyria. I hope she could be put to rest.
I am very hopeful that you will be able to find this as well. And I am happy if there is anything I can do to assist you, I would be willing to. As I said, this ritual will leave me weakened for days. I will not be much use of you for at least 3 or 4 days, but after that, I'd be more than happy to help you. I should also point out with this ritual, you yourselves will be needed to participate. It will not entirely be on me. There will be some element of involvement on your part.
What would you require?
You and Rowan, is it? You will need to be the ones who sort of collect the malignant energy as it leaves your bodies. Nothing too strenuous or harmful, but you will be needed. I will have to focus on maintaining the sort of power to summon it. And Gruffith, if I may ask you, I will need you to read the poem on repeat as we perform the ritual.
Reading.
Can you read?
Yes.
And it does not need to be some... you do not need to perform it as some great orator or storyteller.
You've read the poems of Sir Isabel.
No, that was
He
a
heard them,
bard.
yes.
Sang it to me.
If you struggle with the reading,
No,
perhaps,
I'll do it.
Very well. I could have
very
had
slow.
the young girl Daisy read it in your place.
Might be best.
Well, there it is.
But yes, so there will be some involved, but nothing harmful.
I'm worried about the physical.
My arm's gone dead.
Really?
The tote. I pull off the tote.
Oh,
It's like the purple and like it's like the blood rushing back.
So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Goes dark.
this curse is having a physical toll on me. So hopefully,
I could give you some temporary stamina to assist you with it.
if it allows me to collect this malignant energy, then
When you say that you're physically suffering, what are we talking? Symptoms? Describe them to me.
struggle breathing. We tried to climb some stairs and I could not regain my breath. Like my
I
heart.
can assist you with that.
Okay.
It will only last an hour, but it should be enough to complete the ritual.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. I told you, didn't I, Xantheus? I'm here to help.
And so is everyone else.
Besides, we cannot have this malignant curse taking the lives of good Imperial citizens. That is what the Ecliptic Order was built to stand against. And then there is this matter of these demons and this guild. And she whispers more conspiratorially now. There is more going on than I believe. You realize this guild master, Tobias, has close connections with the Church of the Scion. Do you know that many cathedrals and temples have catacombs beneath them? Places that prying eyes cannot reach, tunnels that stretch out for miles. But the curse must be dealt with first.
Okay.
With that is where we're going to have to end today's episode.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
Rhea, I wanted to get back to Ophelia,
All
but
good.
wanted to kind of set the scene for this.
No worries. Good scene set.
We will pick it up with you guys going back to the Enticing Devil
Okay.
and dealing with this curse in the next
Then we have
episode.
to
All right.
raid the church.
Maybe.
The catacombs.
Maybe.
Churches always go well for us.
They do.
Always.
Oh,
yeah.
wait.
Getting into them might be quite tricky. Unless you.
How hard
yeah,
can it
but-
be?
Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, God.
But that is going to be it for this week.
There it is.
Fantastic episode, everybody.
It's out
Thank
there.
you so much.
Oh.
Just lastly, as well, do go and check out The Wandering Tavern. It's on Kickstarter by Homie and the Dude.
You love that.
Go check it out. Links will be in the video description and chat and all of that good stuff.
Yes.
Very, very cool Studio Ghibli inspired floating setting with airships and loads of cool stuff as well. Go and do that. And if you go check it out and support it, that actually helps us out as well.
Yeah. Go check it out. Just
Yeah.
take a look.
Big round of applause to Tommy Wombat.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
We're in
much.
for a while, and I know you worked very hard on
Held
all
on
of
to that boy. Held on to
RP.
that boy.
And that is it. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you, and we'll see you next time. Take care, and a bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hey.